This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
The Prime Minister renewing calls for mass vaccination. August shaping up to be the worst month of the year so far, and schools to open virtually. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Morning again, Bahamas. It is Monday, August 23rd, 2021. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Pamela Musgrove will be joining us. Also this morning in Morning Blend Business, we're going to be talking with the National Insurance Board. They are going to tell us about their pension verification process and smart card procedures. That's all straight ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. Overnight, in a plea to residents who remain hesitant about getting vaccinated, Prime Minister Dr. Jimenez says that they do not have time to keep thinking about getting the shot and urged them in a national address last night to come forward as quickly as possible to get vaccinated. He said again, you do not have time to continue to do the research. Quote, you need to come forward now to get the life-saving protection that vaccination gives. My administration knows that the only way out of the emergency phase of the pandemic is to vaccinate as many Bahamians as possible in as short a time as possible. Now, between August 18th and 21st, 538 new COVID cases and 22 deaths were reported. Already, more than 2,400 new cases have been reported in August, the most recorded in any month this year. The Department said these are rough times, Officials at Doctors Hospital and Princess Margaret Hospital and the Ram Memorial in Grand Bahama have said they are operating at or beyond capacity. The Prime Minister saying it's clear that vaccinations are the primary means of ending the emergency stage of the pandemic. He also said that 129,017 doses of the vaccine have been administered in the Bahamas so far. As of August 21st, 55,291 Bahamians and residents were fully vaccinated. Now, on Thursday, shortly after the problem resolved, the Prime Minister announced that the next election will be held on September 16th. During his address last night, he urged all eligible Bahamians to get out and vote as well. He noted that the public measures which limit the number of people who can campaign must be followed. He also said that the curfews will be strictly enforced as well. More than 500 healthcare workers have contracted COVID in the country since the start of the pandemic. That's according to a recent report published by the Pan American Health Organization. Since the start of the pandemic, 13 healthcare workers died as a result of the virus, according to that report as well. As of August 20th, the number of cases among healthcare workers stood at 505. Just over 50% of healthcare workers in the country have been vaccinated, according to that report. Again, the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Pearl McMillan, said last week that we have a long way to go in getting healthcare workers vaccinated. The number of pregnant women who have contracted COVID-19 stands at 101. In February, PAHO reported that a number had tested positive for the virus in the Bahamas. Earlier this month, while appearing as a guest on the Hit Back with Nahaja Black on Guardian Radio, former Minister of Health Dr. Dwight said that every single delivering mother was COVID positive on one of the maternity wards in the country. All public schools in the country will begin the 2021-2022 academic year with a virtual learning format. The Ministry of Education announcing this over the weekend. The ministry also encouraging private schools to adopt a similar position and noted that independent schools that wish to proceed with some face-to-face instruction must seek approval to do so from the Ministry of Education. A statement over the weekend saying that as the school year approaches, the Ministry of Education announcing that this virtual format instead of the hybrid format will be taking place. It said that while the preferred mode of instructional delivery continues to be face-to-face, the ministry remains guided by the mantra of safety first, education always. And the F&M ratifying D'Angelo Ferguson as its candidate for Mangrove Key Central and South Andros. This after Kenneth Smith, the party's original candidate, resigned because of health issues. The F&M saying in a statement that Smith, the businessman, contacted the chairman of the party to ask to be removed from the nomination for the constituency, and that the party understood his position. Overseas, a firefight at one of the gates of Kabul's international airport, killing at least one Afghan soldier early today. The latest chaos to engulf Western efforts to evacuate those fleeing the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan. The shooting at the airport came as the Taliban sent fighters north of the capital to eliminate pockets of armed resistance to their lightning takeover earlier this month. The Taliban said that they retook 3 districts seized by opponents the day before that had surrounded Panjshir, the last province that remains out of their control. Afghanistan security forces collapsed in the face of the Taliban advance. Despite 20 years of Western aid, training, and assistance, tens of thousands of Afghans have sought to flee the country since fearing a return to the brutal rule the Taliban imposed the last time they ran Afghanistan. That has led to chaos at the Kabul airport, the main route out of the country, where some Afghan troops are assisting Western evacuation efforts. And Vietnam's largest metropolis, Ho Chi Minh City, beginning a strict lockdown to battle the coronavirus a day ahead of U.S. President Kamala Harris's visit to the capital of Hanoi. Police and army troops have mobilized to enforce the lockdown and deliver food and supplies to households, people in high-risk districts must stay at home under the stricter measures imposed for at least 2 weeks. The health ministry on Sunday reported 737 virus-related deaths, its highest single-day total. That raises the death toll since the pandemic to 8,277. Hanoi is also under lockdown. The U.S. has been Vietnam's largest donor of vaccines, sending 5 million doses of Moderna. Separately, Vietnam has signed commercial agreements with U.S. vaccine makers Moderna and Pfizer to secure at least 80 million doses. In sports, from Major League Baseball, Miguel Cabrera celebrating with his teammates on the Detroit Tigers. He took a curtain call on the road, paying tribute to his family, his team, and his native country. It was quite a day even for one of baseball's most accomplished sluggers. Cabrera became the 28th major leaguer to hit 500 home runs, reaching the milestone in the 6th inning Sunday against the Toronto Blue Jays. The 38-year-old Cabrera connected on a 1-1 pitch from left-hander Steven Matz, sending the ball over the scoreboard in right center field. Measured at 400 feet, the homer tied it at 1. Many of the 14,685 fans at Rogers Center rose for a standing ovation as Cabrera rounded the bases. After celebrating with his teammates, he came out of the dugout to accept a curtain call, taking off his helmet and bowing to the crowd behind Detroit's dugout. Cabrera, who won the Triple Crown and the first of back-to-back MVP awards in 2012, is the first Venezuelan to hit 500 homers. He's hoping to become the first hitter to reach 500 homers and 3,000 hits in the same season. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, we've got a robust high-pressure ridge combined with a dense plume of Saharan dust. That's going to continue to generate moderate to fresh breezes and drier, more stable weather conditions across the country through tonight. Beachgoers across all areas should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents along eastern and southern shorelines, and residents should be prepared to remain hydrated and limit outdoor activities as heat indices are again expected to soar into the triple digits. For all areas today, your forecast calls for partly sunny to sunny, hot and hazy conditions, breezy as well, with a few isolated showers, turning fair to partly cloudy and warm tonight. A small craft advisory is in effect for the central and southeast Bahamas. Winds southeast to south at 15 knots, but gusty at times in the northwest Bahamas, shifting east to southeast at 15 to 25 knots in the central and southeastern islands. Seas 3 to 5 feet in the northwestern Bahamas, but building to 5 to 8 feet in the central and southeast Bahamas. Temperature-wise, right now in Nassau, it's about 83 degrees, 83 in Freeport. Look for highs getting up to around 92 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. But that heat index, again, in the triple digits at around 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have an extended outlook and a look at the tropics coming up after traffic in just a bit. It's time for break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day, Guardian Radio 96.9.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Stay a step ahead of technology with certainty and support from Custom Computers. Our know-how team is here to help you zero in on your next big tech purchase, finding solutions that take your productivity to the next level using only the best and most reliable brands. With stores in Palmdale, West Bay, and Old Fort Bay, and free delivery to businesses, there's no stopping you from stepping up your tech. Reach out to us at 396-1100. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Pamela Musgrove is back, and she's going to be joining us this morning. You can join the conversation as well. We'll give you the phone numbers to call in just a bit, but you can also tweet us at morningblend969 or Facebook.com/morningblend969. Email us morningblend@nasgard.com, or you can text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-GR96, 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Coming up this morning, more weather and traffic. And throughout the morning, we're going to be talking about what's in the news, getting your reaction to the Prime Minister's address last night, and what we've learned over the weekend about schools abandoning the hybrid format for now and going all virtual, the public schools at least, and the Ministry of Education saying that they are going to encourage private schools to do the same, as we are experiencing our worst month so far for the year with these COVID numbers. So that's coming up. Then in our 9 o'clock Morning Blend business hour, we are going to be talking with the National Insurance Board. They are going to tell us more about their pension verification process and smart card procedures. So a lot to get to this morning. But Pamela Musgrove is with us. Hello, Pamela.
Good morning, Dwight.
It's been a while. I hope you enjoyed your vacation. Welcome back. Great to have you with us.
I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, wonderful stuff. Wonderful. We missed you greatly. And again, it's always a pleasure. All right. Let's begin with what's in the news. In just a bit, but just want to go with the beginning with the lead story in the National Guardian today. Worst month of the year. August on track to see the most COVID cases since the start of the pandemic. 8 more deaths confirmed, 47 under investigation. Our Rachel Scott writing about this. More COVID-19 cases have already been confirmed in August than in any other month this year. with 2,466 cases recorded for the month as of Saturday. 2,466 cases. On the current track, August appears set to exceed October when 2,612 cases were recorded, the highest number of COVID cases ever confirmed in the country in any month. The cases confirmed over the weekend include 317 on New Providence, 32 on Abaco, 24 on Grand Bahama, 23 on Eleuthera, 10 on Long Island, 10 on Exuma, 1 in Mayaguana, 1 in Bimini and Cat Key, 1 in Andros, and 4 with locations still pending. The new cases bring the total number of confirmed in the Bahamas to 17,386. Of them, 3,200 are still active. 3,200 still active. 8 more deaths were also confirmed over the weekend. 8 more deaths. All New Providence residents. A 63-year-old man who died on August 18th, a 44-year-old man who died on August 19th, a 52-year-old woman who died on August 19th, a 55-year-old man who died on August 4th, a 60-year-old man who died on August 6th, a 55-year-old man who died on August 9th, a 48-year-old woman who died on August 13th, and a 56-year-old man who died on August 18th. In the past week alone, 25 COVID deaths have been added to the toll, bringing the total number of confirmed COVID deaths in the country to 338 since the start of the pandemic. As of Saturday, another 89 people had been confirmed to have died with COVID. Not because of it, but not because of it, right? While 47 deaths are still under investigation. 148 people were hospitalized, 11 in the intensive care unit. Of the hospitalizations, 28 were in Grand Bahama and the remainder in New Providence. So, we've known this. This has been a terrible month. We are hearing, I don't know about you, Pam, but I've never known as many people to have COVID at one time than what I've been hearing in the past few weeks. And the number of people that I know personally who have died larger than at any other point, even last year when we were dealing with this, when it seemed like it was out of control last year, So we are in a very, very bad place right now. Yeah. So amid all of this, the Prime Minister gave his address last night. And,
the fact is, Dwight, people are dying,
Yeah. Yeah, it's scary.
This is, in looking at the numbers, normally when you look at the number of cases, I would see like active cases, 1,000 some. I think maybe during the second wave or so it went maybe close to or maybe at 2,000. But when I looked at it, I was just looking at the table last evening and I saw 3,000 plus active cases. Mm-hmm. So that tells me there's a lot of persons, and that's just what is recorded.
Right.
And they say normally one person, if not careful, can infect 8 persons. So if you keep multiplying that, you can see how this can spread and this can be very dangerous in this country because we have a lot of people in the country with comorbidities. Okay. And in some cases, people have comorbidities and don't even know it. Right. They don't even know that they're hypertensive. They don't even know that they're diabetic until something happens. So this is some really serious stuff. And like you say, people are dying, and it's serious.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's serious.
So many are going to say, we're already hearing it, that they don't understand what the Prime Minister's address was all about. But, we have an election coming up. Yes, absolutely. But we're still in the middle of a gigantic emergency situation. And so most of his address was focused on COVID and what we are doing and what needs to be done. And once again, the focus was on getting vaccinated. The Prime Minister calling for all hands on deck to help with this. I'm going to play a piece of what he said in this. You can take a listen to what he had to say.
Continue to call for volunteers in our national vaccination program. Your help through volunteering is crucial in our campaign. the more people who volunteer, the more vaccines we can administer daily. There is another way that we need your help. Tonight, I am asking all leaders in our country to unite behind the message, let's get vaccinated. I am asking religious leaders, media commentators, union leaders, political parties and candidates, businesses, civic groups and NGOs to join us through your various platforms in strongly and continuously encouraging Bahamians to take the vaccines. If we all, as opinion leaders, speak with one clear, determined, and consistent voice, more people will be encouraged to take the vaccine. Please, use your voices and platforms to spread the message that vaccines prevent hospitalizations, they prevent deaths, and that by us taking the vaccines in large numbers, we can go back to more openness. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to remind the country that effective Friday, September 3rd, 2021, that cruise lines operating passenger voyages will be permitted to enter a port in the Bahamas, including private destinations, only if all passengers 12 years of age and older are fully vaccinated. This requirement will remain in effect until 1st of November 2021, unless earlier rescinded. The requirement will not apply to cruise ships attempting to call at a port in an emergency. The vessel will not be prevented from making port if a cruise operator has provided passage on board to unvaccinated guests who are ineligible for the COVID-19 vaccination due to medical contraindications. I wish to offer a number of reminders, particularly as our country is preparing for the upcoming general election. The COVID-19 curfews throughout the country will be strictly enforced. I wish to remind you that individuals traveling from New Providence, Grand Bahama, Eleuthera, Exuma, Abaco, and North and South Eleuthera, including Harbor Island, are required to present negative COVID-19 test results prior to travel. Fully vaccinated individuals may present a negative rapid antigen or PCR test results. Those who are unvaccinated must present a negative PCR test results. The public health measures governing the elections must also be adhered to. I note again that the emergency orders limit the number of people campaigning in groups to 5, all of whom must be fully vaccinated. I also note that Bahamians 65 years and older will be permitted to vote in the advance polls for their further protection in the upcoming general election. In terms of public health measures, this will also reduce the number of Bahamians voting on a single day. I want to ensure Bahamians that the voting process will be safe. I encourage all who are eligible to go out and vote. My fellow Bahamians and residents, please continue to abide by the health guidelines. Please be safe. May God bless you and your families. May God continue to guide and protect us. Thank you, and Good evening.
Okay. The Prime Minister there, a piece of his address from last night. And people were hoping for some meat and something juicy and new, but it was just more advice that we really need everybody to abandon this talk, the negativity, the paranoia, the fear mongering that's going on, of calling for all hands to come together and encourage everybody else to get vaccinated. Because again, we can't ignore the
how well
seeing.
how well is the program going to vaccinate? Because I know we had run low, and then we had gotten a number of doses in the country. Are they going well, or is there a stall in the process?
No, so far it seems to be going very well. The Pfizer vaccination started over the past few days, and they're saying they need more volunteers. They're saying that it's hard to get a booking. It's hard to get a booking for both AstraZeneca and Pfizer. We're going to be sending the first set of Johnson & Johnson to the Family Islands, but eventually it'll be available here in New Providence as well. But so far so good. I know some people.
That's a plus, though, Dwight. That's a plus.
Yeah,
and it's good. I just feel like I listen occasionally to the radio, and I just think there's so much negativity towards people taking up the vaccines. You know, I've heard some persons say, well, they're glad now that people are taking it. Well, if those persons who are on the line now taking it had taken it earlier, then that person who got it would not have been able to get it because they didn't have sufficient in country. And now that we have a lot more in country, I read where they can't put out appointments fast enough because people are taking them up. So right. I think we need to use that as a plus and continue to encourage persons to take it and not to. Yes, there are some voices out there that are talking, but a lot of people have taken this vaccine, have not reported it to the government that they've taken it, but they are taking it and they're protecting themselves, and even more so now. So I think the focus ought to be on continuing to encourage persons to look after their health and for those who choose to take the vaccine in order to protect themselves, because people are dying. That's not fake news. Mm-hmm. There are people are dying and they're dying young because of this virus. So I think we need to focus on the positive and not to continue to focus on some of the voice out there that I don't think is the large majority.
Well, but they're very loud, and so they give people the impression that they are speaking for the majority. But you might be right about that. They probably don't represent the majority, it seems.
No, I look at it. If you walk into a doctor's hospital and the doctor tells you that you have cancer, and the way to live is to take chemo, some people look at their options as alternative, but most people take that route. And I've known persons who have died from cancer, and they took the first round and that didn't work, and they were willing to take the next round and the next round, whatever it took to keep themselves alive. And I say there are persons out there, if you feel as though, you know what, nobody knows for sure what's going on inside their bodies. You can think you're healthy until something happens. So I think people are going to make the best decision. And if you choose not to take it, then that's your choice.
Yeah. I can tell you, over the past few days, I have never had so many questions to me personally, people asking me about the vaccine. So that might be an encouraging sign. People say, are you vaccinated? How was it? What do you think? Right? So people are asking more. And that's what one of the health officials said that a few weeks ago, right? Please encourage people, talk to
them. I think that's the approach.
Yeah.
That's the approach. And I've spoken to people, even family members, and you're just having casual conversation. You haven't seen each other. Mm-hmm. And it comes up that they took it.
Yeah.
They took the vaccine. But I don't think generally people go out there and they broadcast it, I took it. But I think a lot more persons are taking it.
I think the first set, they were very proud to tell everybody. But yeah. But yeah, that's happening.
But I just think we have to focus on the positive with this, because we have seen from even with the referendum, when you bash people, that's not going to make them make up their mind to do it. I think that's going to push them further and further away if you use the approach of bashing people or scaring people into it. I just think you present the fact, and the fact is, it is shown. I was reading an article, I think last evening, where the doctor said nobody that has died in this country or is in intensive care, seriously ill, has received both doses of the vaccine.
Yeah, and they've been saying that
that's
for a while.
Positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a positive, and I think we ought to continue on that vein, and as much as possible report the numbers so we can know what's going on in the country.
Yeah. So let me tell you what's happening with me. This is interesting. So, I've been weighing it, talking about it for a long time.
If you're not going to mix that thing,
I am going to do it, Pam.
That's right.
Hey, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Dwayne Sands was on the show and he talked about it, and others, and all those studies are saying that it seems to be more effective if you have AstraZeneca first and Pfizer second. So, yeah, I'll be a test bunny. I don't know.
Okay,
but I'm doing it, getting my Pfizer this week, the second dose. And actually, what were you going to say?
You were determined that you were going to get Pfizer.
I wasn't determined. I was very unsure, but I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I've already booked it actually. So
I go for it. Go for it.
But hey, let me tell you something. I know some people took AstraZeneca and wanted AstraZeneca for their second dose, and they're having a hard time. It's so booked up. The next available, it seems, is way many weeks ahead. So it looks like we're being
forced into taking Pfizer.
I'm forced. I wouldn't say that word.
But I say forced into taking Pfizer.
But it's going to be hard for people to get a second dose, it seems, of AstraZeneca. It seems. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, people on the committee, the vaccine committee. But it's Pfizer is what's available in this country at the moment. So,
well, I think they're saying that they're going to try to get Pfizer fully approved.
Could be
they're
today.
Pushing that,
right.
Yeah.
So for all those who've been holding out because they say it's an emergency use only drug, today the FDA may finally approve it for what do they call it? Not emergency? Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. So there we go. Boy. All right. So, folks, we want to hear from you. What do you make of what the Prime Minister had to say yesterday and what you're hearing about August being the worst month so far? Just every day we're hearing, and young people as well. Young people my age who are dying, people who are dead, people who are younger than me. And it's just very disturbing. But all of this, let's talk. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's hear what you have to say about all of this.
Dwight, last week I lost a cousin.
Oh boy, I'm sorry to hear that.
In the midst of all of this, and that's the closest this has hit me. Home, Janae Nottage. I lost a cousin last week, and that was a blow. That was a blow. So people are really dying.
Yeah.
Out there. And the challenge is, even if you don't have COVID, right? If you need serious medical attention, you probably can't get it because the system is so overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. I'm preaching to my mom to be careful. I say, be careful. I say, because you can't go to the doctor. Right. You can't go to the hospital. We don't need you to be sick to go to the hospital because that place is so over. And I mean, even before this, the Princess Margaret Hospital was challenged.
Of course.
And now it's worse. And then when you had doctors' hospitals saying that they are challenged. So there are persons who probably could have lived had not the system been so overwhelmed. Mm. So these are serious timing. So for the persons who choose to take the vaccine or not to, those persons, but I still say fill up your system. This is the time to be building up your system and keeping as healthy as possible, because you don't want the risk having to use the medical facilities during this time.
You've got to do everything. You've got to exercise. You've got to build up your immune system. You've got to get vaccinated, all of the above, everything in order to make it okay on the other side of all of this. I can't read this message here. But anyway, continue to text us, 422-4796, and call in, 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259. Pam, something we talked about a few weeks ago, and you said it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because they won't come together. Remember we said it, that if we can you imagine if you can get the Prime Minister and Brave Davis and maybe other leaders of other parties to come together and do a commercial saying, hey, we need all of you to take this vaccine, what type of difference that would make. The Prime Minister kind of sort of hinted at or said something, suggested something along those lines for all of the political party leaders, for all the talk show hosts, for all the influencers in the country to come out and to speak about this in a positive way. But how likely is it that we're going to see something like that?
Okay, I'll ask you a question, and I want you to answer me. Did the Prime Minister make that statement before or after an election was called? Answer me.
Wow. You know it was after. What difference does it make?
I rest my case.
Oh, no, you can't arrest it yet. Tell us why you say that.
No, let the audience give their view on that.
I'm very naive. Tell me why you think that makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that should have come forward a long time ago. I remember during Dorian. When persons were saying both former prime ministers, wanted to help, and there was resistance to that. I bet in that statement he probably made for those former prime ministers to come out and help as well. But that's after he called an election. So I think we are in that quote unquote silly season. So we have to be careful and judge everything that all of these politicians say, because they have all shown us in the past, and I say all, the major parties, they have shown us in the past that their word is not to be trusted. Because they blatantly go out and say things that they would do, and they literally not do it, and appears to have no qualms about not doing it. Yeah. So I would say to be very careful and to judge the words of the politicians during this time. And I agree that we all need to get together and encourage persons. But when you say it during this time, I am a little suspect as to why you're saying it. Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, that's rough. That is rough. Oh, boy. Okay, here's a message on our app. The message on our app says, the Prime Minister was really campaigning very hard last night. He is using the vaccine as his campaign topic. He dare not campaign on his political record because it will destroy him. Wow. Okay, interesting. What do you make of that, Pam? Do you think he was campaigning? Did that sound like a campaign speech to you?
I mean, it's about the people getting vaccinated. And I think the Prime Minister has been saying that for some time now. He's been trying to encourage people to become vaccinated. So I think the part about, trying to forge this unity amongst all persons out there. I mean, since the Prime Minister liked the media? When since he's up there encouraging the media?
Right. And acknowledging that the media has influence.
Yes, he's been attacking the media for your fake news, and then now, after he calls the election, it's only a month away, so I guess he had to jump in there quickly with that. But to his credit, he's always been pushing the vaccine. There was probably some droplets in that statement that was politically motivated, but I guess that's not surprising because we are in a political season, and we probably have a little over 3 weeks left.
Yep.
Before we go to the polls and vote. So I say, I think the Bahamian people during this season is going to have to be Solomon. They're going to have to judge wisely, because I think, in my personal, based on reports that I've seen, I think both this election with the two leaders at the top of the ticket reminds me personally of Hillary and Donald Trump. The election between Hillary and Donald Trump. I think both leaders have issues with favorability. The F&M brought out a poll that said that Dr. Minnis was higher there and Brave was low. And then the PLP brought out a poll that says Brave was high and Dr. Minnis is low. Well, both can be high because it goes over 100. So I can take the assumption that they both have low favorability at this point. And so the Bahamian people will have to make a decision, you know, on what to do. The disadvantage, I think, I think the momentum is more on the side of the PLP. Mm-hmm. Because I think this F&M government has so offended so many people and they have seen, they've gotten to see Dr. Minnis in action. This is not like, you know, before when you had Mr. Christie and Dr. Minnis and you say, well, okay, give Dr. Minnis a chance.
Right.
He's a doctor. He's not a lawyer. Give him a chance. You know, he is Moses, you know, help him up. And I think these the Bahamian people have watched Dr. Minnis for the past 4.5 years. And I think independent type voters are disillusioned by the performance. So they have already seen Dr. Minnis in action. And then the question is, can we trust that the PLP under the leadership of a Brave Davis can bring about the change that we want to see and not just give lip service to be in power? Mm-hmm. And I think that's what the Bahamian people will have to decide at the polls in less than 4 weeks.
This is going to be one of the toughest ones.
Yeah, this is going to be tough. This is going to be tough. I remember I think it was Dr. Strachan and Dr. Bettel that were talking about spoiled ballot.
Right.
And it was like, spoil the ballot? Why? Yeah. But that is looking. That
sounds good to you. So it's either that or what other people fear is that it's going to be, for the first time, a historically low turnout. We normally have above 80%, above 90, right? But this time people are saying they just think people will throw their hands up in the air like we can't win no matter what happens. So why waste my time with this and purple up my thumb for no good reason at all?
I feel as though I think you should go out. If you feel that none of the candidates, I think we should do something different and look at the candidates. Mm-hmm. I think, and let the chips fall where they may. Because what we have been doing in the past is we've been looking at the head of the ticket.
Right.
And that's kind of ironic because we appear not to like that one-man band. We appear not to like that maximum leader. But we do that. When we go in Nassau Village to vote, we don't necessarily look at the candidates in Nassau Village. We're looking at the head of the ticket. Mm-hmm. When we go to Seabreeze for the most part and vote, we're looking at the head of the ticket. So I say, maybe would be not for the party loyalists, because the party loyalists, they will vote for their party no matter what. Yeah. That's their party, and it doesn't matter.
The issue with that, though, is that why do that when these people won't speak for us? They will go in the House and they will not consult with you on any of the bills. They won't tell you what's going on. If they're in the cabinet, they definitely won't speak to you about anything. Why vote for them based on who they are when that means nothing at all, it seems? Only when they get kicked out of the inner circle of the party and they start to speak their mind do they finally seem to be able to convey some of the views of their constituents.
Well, I say maybe what we should do this time for those of us who have no real allegiance, look at the candidates, engage them, look into their personal life. Like, what are they about? Look into their professional life. What how are they doing? Look into their community involvement. Are they involved in community? And make that decision. Because guess what? Out of these candidates will come ministers, Minister of Education, Minister of Health, Minister of the Environment. And so I think we should, and I'm just saying this because, yes, the Prime Minister is the first among equal, but at the same time, we have a situation in this country where we have been looking at that head of the ticket and we have been disappointed. And so what we tend to do is we move persons out of Parliament that were probably good members of Parliament, but because we wanted to get rid of the head of the ticket, because these political organizations have not organized themselves. Yeah. And it's not because they don't want to do it. Because if you look in the UK, the master model that we use, their political parties are regulated.
Mm-hmm.
They are regulated, and they also have to report on their income and send statements out, publish their statements on the party. And they cannot accept money from unknown donors. But remember when we were dealing with the financial legislation, and they were looking at at charitable organizations, and the Attorney General stressed that charitable organization was under that umbrella, and these NGOs had to report their statements. But guess what was missing, Dwight?
Political parties.
Political parties.
Yeah.
You see? So I think we have to do something different if we want different. And if we don't want the maximum leader, if we don't want the weight of this country on one person, then I think we need to do different and look at those candidates. And if none of those candidates impress you in your constituency, I think you should get up, make an effort, go to the poll, and don't vote for any. And then they will have that as a record, and not this high voter turnout and a low spoil ballot. I think we have to do something different, because if we keep doing the same things that we have been doing over and over, well, guess what, Dwight? We're going to get the same result, and to expect something different is insanity.
Interesting stuff. Wow. We're going to have to do a show on those who are encouraging people to spoil their ballots last time, if they are still encouraging that. Ian Strachan and Nicolette Bethel back on. I don't know if they'll talk about it this year, but we'll see. Okay. Some text messages here. Someone says, whoever wins the next general election is going to implement mandatory vaccinations. Dwight, watch and see. Well, I don't know about that one, but I would bet money on it that there will be lockdowns, at least for a little bit, right after the election, within a week. There'll be. I would bet money on that one.
You think so?
Maybe even only a weekend lockdown. Something. We got to do something. These numbers are crazy, and you see it all around us. Jamaica's been doing something dramatic, and New Zealand is back to that again. And clearly, this is one way to get a handle on a horrible situation when it's out of control, and we are there. We are there. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, now we know that businesses are going to complain, and everyone's going to get upset, but it would be suicide to do it before the election. But don't be surprised at what happens after. I bet you see that before you see mandatory vaccinations. Mm-hmm. All right, someone says here, I don't know if they're trying to be funny. I don't think I should read this, but anyway, you might grow hair as a side effect of the vaccine. Okay, that'll be a good one. That'll be a good side effect. Dwight and Pam, welcome back, Pam. You were missed. Dwight, can you say how many press conferences the Prime Minister has had since he took office where he was questioned by the media? Not many at all. Not many. Not as many as he had promised there would be.
I mean, we started out with a press secretary.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so, I thought it was good.
We've been calling for that for many years.
Yeah. Get to. I think one of my greatest disappointment with Dr. Minnis is him not making himself accessible to the people. I think any leader of our country ought to make themselves accessible. Now, I know that.
And he said he was going to do that. He said he was going to do that.
But see, again, like I said, you really can't trust the politicians when they say, you really can't trust them. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you make up your mind, but I know people were, with Mr. Christie, there was an issue with every time someone put a microphone to his mouth, he spoke, right? But you don't have to do that. You could say no comment and have organized meetings with the press so that the people can understand what's going on. I'm terribly disappointed that it's as if you want to be leader of the country, but you don't want to talk to the people. Mm-hmm. You don't want to address us, to let us know what is going on with our affairs. Right. You were placed there to manage our affairs.
Yes, and the only times he spoke, most times they were obscure, bizarre statements and things that nobody could comprehend. Remember fishing from the moon and weird rhyming and.
Yeah, so I think I don't want that trend to be set. I don't want that to be cultural in our country.
No.
Where our leaders feel that they are not obligated to talk to us and have us ask them questions.
Right.
I don't want that to be the norm in our country.
All right, we got to take a break. Let me just read a couple more of these messages before we go to the break. This one says here, what now? Hopefully, the next time we hear from Menace, it'll be his concession speech. Oh my goodness! The poll a few weeks ago found that FNMs are 3 times as likely to get vaccinated as PLPs. Please interpret the meaning and how the choice of who will lead us should be influenced by this finding. Well, that's a very important point, and we're well. At least we heard from the chairman that he was having a hard time getting the younger members. I heard him say that a few weeks back. Younger members who are younger candidates to go and get vaccinated. I don't know if that's still the case, but we believe, right? Yes, the leader is vaccinated, and many others are, but they do need to come out and speak. They do need to say that they did this and this is safe. We need to hear from them. And Pam, I'm sure you were blinded by all the red and gold stuck in the ground. And people said this months ago, and we thought, but people said if you could find the money to do all of these billboards and these little things to stick in the ground, you could have put up some messages about COVID and the vaccine, and both parties, all the parties could do this. And if you cared, if you really
What I find funny about all of this, right, is the talk was only one man knew the date. Not even cabinet knew the date. Not even the chairman of the party knew the date. Mm-hmm. But the day after, the one man announced the election.
That's why you got to be ready.
Both parties. I think the only parties that were caught off guard was like the DNA and the other parties in the coalition, because it's like the day after, all of these stuff was ready to just go in the ground. This one man, knowing, I don't know for that, right? Because they were all ready.
Yeah, they were ready. But hey, I mean, to the parties that didn't do this nonsense, we salute you, because this is ridiculous and childish. I have never seen anything so silly in my life. I'm embarrassed. Do you think this is what works on us? The party with the most of the stucky into the ground things wins the election? You've got out of your mind. Now, either you think we're stupid or you are stupid. Which one is it? This is
I do. Yeah. And I in the groups that I am in, look here, we think this is going to be a long 3 or so weeks, because the things that people are coming up with, and what I see happening is they're in attack mode. They are attacking each other, but nobody is articulating, at least not yet, how we're going to get out of this situation that we are in. I want to know what the PLP and the other parties, because I know how the FNM feels about it, about the freedom of information. I mean, really bringing that on. I want to know what the PLP and the rest of the parties feel about campaign finance reform. All the things that matter to us and that help us to move forward. So I'm reading this book. I just started reading this book. I saw this, and this is a book that I saw on the bookshelf, and I grabbed it. My husband actually bought it, and I grabbed it. Why Nations Fail: The Origins of Power, Prosperity, and Poverty. And you know what's the cornerstone of it? And they're going way back to the 1800s. Corruption. Corruption. And lack of involvement of the people in the political and economic system in the country.
Wow.
Just elite. Corruption.
Yeah.
They compare countries like Mexico way back to the origin and the U.S. from colonial days.
Is there a chapter on the Bahamas in there?
Well, I think this all relates. That's what inspired me to pick it up. Why nations fail? Why are we failing? Why is my country failing? It's what motivated me to want to read the book. And it's a lack of transparency. And we've seen successive and current administration who fight transparency. They fight the involvement of the people into the process of politics and the economy.
They're annoyed by it seems.
Yeah. That's why we are on the track that we are on.
Let's take this call before we take a break. Good morning, caller. You are on Morning Blend.
Hey, good morning, Dwight and Pam. How y'all doing?
Doing well.
Good morning.
Excellent. Welcome back, Pam.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Yes, and good morning to the nation. Dwight, I have 2 points I want to get into with regard to the conversation. Excellent conversation, by the way. The Prime Minister has shown no remorse for his COVID-19 policies, Dwight and Pam, and the nation. His policies which actually gave way to the explosion of COVID-19 infections, and most unfortunately, the very swift rate of death of scores of Bahamians. And he refuses to reverse course on his unscientific cruise passengers non-COVID-19 test requirements, which is the singular biggest risk factor to the continued spread of COVID-19 and the rate of loss of life, which exceeds the rate of loss of life of the prior two waves. And the final point, you heard me clearly just now, Dwight?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. And the final point, Dwight, Parliament to the nation. The Prime Minister takes Bahamians for fools, for the biggest set of fools on the planet. He's calling for support from civil leaders, civic leaders, the media, political leaders, right? In order to undergird the go and get vaccinated message, right? However, in order for this to happen, this calls for a comprehensive education program to be designed specifically for each one of those segments of society. He's asking to participate with the government. Otherwise, you may have a whole bumbling of misinformation. You may have a whole bumbling of information that does not meet the government standards, and you may have a whole level of a new level of confusion that would derive as a result. And so he has not even put in place or designed a specific comprehensive education program to come to the Guardian, where you're the manager, Dwight, to ensure that all of your talk show hosts are properly educated according to the government standards, so that you can pass on proper and accurate information that meets the standards to the Bahamian public. Same thing with the political directorate. Same thing with the church leaders. And so this Prime Minister, all he is doing is paying a bunch of lip service. He's not serious about saving lives, nor preserving health. He's not serious about preserving the economy, nor saving jobs. He does not have any plans, and he does not know what he is doing. He's incompetent. His cabinet is incompetent. His government is incompetent, and they have failed the Bahamian people miserably. Thank God election is on the 16th so that we can get rid of all of them. Thank you, Dwight. God bless.
Okay. All right. I'm not too sure about that last one there.
Well, we don't need to get rid of all of them, Dwight, because we need strong representation in the Parliament.
Balance.
Because
balance.
yeah, we in 2012, after the 2012 election, the PLP had the large majority. No significant change was made to move the economic dial and the social dial of this country.
Mm-hmm.
F&M came with a large majority in 2017. No significant change was made to move the economic or social dial of this country.
Well, so how are we going to do that? How are you going to fix that? You're going to tell people, hey, this is what we think you should, this is who we think you should vote for, and then we'll have a good number here. We'll have so many of these people and so many of those people and maybe a couple of independents, and this will be a good mix. Are we going to send out notices like that? How are you going to
look at the candidates? Look at the candidates and let the chip fall where they may.
What? But what you see as being the good one might be a demon in somebody else's eyes, you know? So it's
but I'm saying people normally say you're a good guy or you're a good lady, but I need to get rid of your leader.
Right.
So I am going to I can't support you. Let's not do that this time around. Yeah. Let's look at the candidates. Ask them questions. If they can't answer it, then don't support them.
I want to say something
to talk to you, don't support them.
Before we go to the break, we need to take the break now. But one of Anton's points, though, I mean, the many healthcare professionals have made themselves available to the talk shows. So I'm not too sure we need to have everybody come and sit down and be indoctrinated by the government type of thing, right? So that's kind of dangerous there. And it's good to keep the people having their own thoughts and opinions on things. But yes, making yourselves available for a discussion is a good thing. We need to take everybody to school, and we hope others don't think that's the way to do it either. But anyway, all right, let's take that break. We've got a lot of your text messages. We're going to get to those afterward. This is Morning Blend on a Monday morning here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Traveling around the world, infecting men, women, boy, and girl, causing folks to quarantine. I'm talking about COVID-19. Coronavirus, you're a pest. You've got this world in a mess. like a lethal weapon in the dark, leaving death, destruction in your path.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
This is AP News. I'm Rita Foley. Tragedy in Tennessee. At least 22 people are dead, and rescue crews are desperately searching for others who are still missing after record-shattering rainfall there. Here's the AP's Mike Hempen.
The flooding took out roads, cell phone towers, and telephone lines, leaving families uncertain about whether their loved ones survived. The National Weather Service says up to 17 inches of rain fell in Humphreys County in less than 24 hours, setting a Tennessee record for one-day rainfall. In Waverly, restaurant owner Kansas Klein says the rain has caused a lot of damage.
Houses are washed away, knocked off foundations, just totally gone.
The dead include twin babies who were swept from their father's arms, according to family members.
Tropical Depression Henri is getting weaker, but it'll likely drop another 1 to 3 inches of rain on the Northeast today. The National Hurricane Center's Daniel Brown.
The rainfall impacts are still very significant and still ongoing and likely to continue for another 24 hours or so. And those impacts are going to cause really a tremendous amount of flooding. It's an area that doesn't often get hit by these tropical systems.
President Biden says he won't rule out extending the evacuation at the airport in Kabul, Afghanistan, beyond August 31st, the date he had set for completing the withdrawal of U.S. forces. But this morning, a Taliban spokesman says August 31st is a red line. And if the U.S. extends it, it would, quote, provoke a reaction.
President Biden announced this agreement that until 31st of August, they would withdraw all their military forces. So if they extend it, that means they are extending occupation.
This morning, an Afghan soldier was killed in a firefight at one of the airport gates. This is AP News. A legendary singer has died. The AP's Margie Zarletta has this.
Singer Don Everly of the Everly Brothers has died in Nashville, Tennessee at the age of 84, according to his attorney. Details were not given. The Everly Brothers combined pop, rock, and country with distinctive harmonies for a sound that influenced many groups who followed. Bye Bye Love was their first hit, reaching number 2 in 1957. They followed that up with the number 1 song, Wake Up Little Susie. Other Everly Brothers hits include All I Have to Do Is Dream, When Will I Be Loved, and Kathy's Clown. Here he comes. The Everlys broke up on stage in 1973 and did not reunite for 10 years. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as part of the first class in 1986. Phil Everly died in 2014.
At the movies, Free Guy topped the charts for the second week in a row. It's playing exclusively in theaters. The studio says it's getting good word of mouth. I'm Rita Foley, AP News.
You'll be seeing that in the northbound lanes there, the heavy traffic there to Tawny Williams-Darling Highway. Then Glass Road also seeing some heavy traffic in the northbound lanes to JFK Drive. Elsewhere, just some building traffic at some of the major intersections. So Prince Charles and Beatrice Avenue, Charles, Soldier Road, and then Robinson and East-West Highway Marathon Road. You'll be seeing that traffic there. East-West Highway and Abundant Life Road as well. At that junction there. That's what we're looking at so far. We'll have another real-time report for you in just under an hour after the 8 o'clock news. That's your Morning Blend Traffic Alert brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, Banking Reimagined. Check of your weather for today. We've got a robust high-pressure ridge combined with a dense plume of Saharan dust. That's going to continue to generate moderate to fresh breezes and drier, more stable weather conditions across the country through tonight. Beachgoers across all areas should exercise caution due to the high risk of rip currents at eastern and southern shorelines. And everybody should remain hydrated and limit outdoor activities as heat indices are expected to soar into the triple digits. For all areas today, we're looking at partly sunny to sunny, hot, hazy, and breezy conditions with a few isolated showers, turning fair to partly cloudy and warm tonight. Small craft advisories in effect in the central and southeast Bahamas. Temperatures getting up to around 92 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will be high up to 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. In your extended outlook, current weather conditions will persist tomorrow, Tuesday. Meanwhile, a strong tropical wave will usher in a round of showers and thunderstorms as it moves across the islands by midweek. So for tomorrow, Tuesday, look for partly sunny, hot, hazy, and breezy conditions again, with a few isolated showers, mainly in the southeast Bahamas. Wednesday, variably cloudy, hot, and breezy, with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. In the tropics, we've got Henri now depression impacting portions of southern New England and the northern mid-Atlantic states. Elsewhere, a broad area of low pressure located several hundred miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands has a low chance, about 10% chance of cyclone formation through the next 5 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Let me ask you a few questions. What's your name?
Pam.
Favorite food?
Steak.
Beer or wine?
Wine.
Is your money safe?
It's under my bed, so I guess so.
Are you serious?
Yeah, why?
Unless your money is in a bank or credit union that's a member of the Deposit Insurance Corporation, there's no guarantee it's safe.
Yeah, but what if something happens to the bank?
Your Bahamian dollar deposits are insured up to $50,000, so you'd still be ahead. Plus, your mattress might catch fire.
Man, those banks and credit unions are looking good right about now.
Visit the DIC's website at www.dic.bs. Protection for your money, guaranteed with DIC.
Be prepared for the rainy season with an RBC loan to fund your rainy season essentials. For hurricane shutters, generators, solar power systems, or general home repair, RBC offers a range of flexible and competitive financing solutions. Let us help you get started at rbc.com/Caribbean/get-a-loan. Special conditions apply. Reimagine your rainy season readiness with RBC financing.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Biggie Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an orange juice for only $5.25, VAT inclusive. And an apple pie for just $1 more.
Say what?
At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
Many people wonder, what makes Boost Academy unique? Maybe it's our 8-to-1 student-staff ratio, the emphasis we place on student individuality, our focus on numeracy, literacy, and creating better citizens by sharpening students' critical thinking skills. One of our many talented teachers, program facilitators, and mentors. Or just maybe it is our commitment to taking full responsibility for your child's education, no hidden fees or costs. Regardless of what it is, let us help your child reach their full potential. Boost Academy is currently enrolling students of grades 4 through 12. Visit www.boostbahamas.com to apply now.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Traveling around the world, infecting men, women, boy, and girl, causing folks to quarantine. I'm talking about COVID-19. Coronavirus, you're a pest.
Back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong along with Pamela Musgrove on this Monday morning. We're getting a reaction to the Prime Minister's national address last night and to these frightening COVID numbers that we're seeing, the hospitalizations, the number of infections, and the deaths, and what we need to do to get around this. All right. Got a lot of messages, a lot of messages this morning. Okay, let's see. I'm going to read this one here. Okay, this is an interesting message here. Someone says that we have no problem with radio stations and hosts not censoring their thoughts and opinions, but they can be disputed. Ain't a bad thing that the government produces facts for you to challenge callers and guests with. Okay, well, we're running with too many opinions around here, and science, though adjusting because this is a novel virus, ain't really coming to the mix. Okay, I get what they're saying. Yeah. So yeah, sure, that's fine. Fact sheets, maybe. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't know. Like I say, it just feels a little weird if you're going to say, "Hey,
you've had professionals on the show. You've had the former Minister of Health, who is very accessible.
Yes.
Talk about COVID. I feel that the current Minister of Health should be more accessible to talk about these stuff. But you have the former Minister of Health, who's very accessible. You've had doctors and experts who've come on and give their opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I'm saying, I think a class where everybody sits down and told this is how right that's not going to work. But yeah, fact sheets would be great if but again, make these people accessible to us, as you say, and that'll be a great way to go. All right, we've got a lot of your text messages. Let's see, I have to go back up here. Okay, someone says here, Chester Cooper put up a large pro-vaccine sign here in Georgetown in two conspicuous enclaves, I guess to say, and promptly took it down within a matter of 48 hours. Chester should explain his actions. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Why did he do that? Yeah. This thing says that we need to stop giving anti-vaxxers like Wayne Monroe and Sabrina Pinder-Butler a platform to spew ignorance about the vaccine. Is she anti-vax? I don't know if she is. I don't know if I'd say that, but stop giving anti-vaxxers a platform. Okay. Why is it that people are talking about what good about the COVID-19 injection? You have people who take the injection and die. Or who? I keep asking you all to say who and not tell us what you heard or what somebody told you, right? And are you sure that's what they died from? You're doing a lot of speculation, but you still can't present any of the facts. But anyway,
someone in a group that I am in, someone sent a video, an anti-vaccine video. And so I decided to listen to it. It was about 3-4 minutes. I decided to listen to it straight through. So the guy was talking, this doctor was talking about how the vaccines have killed people, taking the vaccine. He says a number of persons have died from the vaccine. Nobody from our practice who is fully vaccinated has died, but here a number of people. And I'm like, that's it right there. It's time to shut you off because you're making this statement, but no fully vaccinated person from your medical facility has died. But you heard
why
that
are you
person saying that. And my thing about it is, right, we only got one vote. We only got generally one response, that's ourselves, right? So if we decide to take the vaccine, then fine, take it? Why do I need to go out and send out stuff to say people who do not want to take it are just crazy or ignorant? If you decide not to take the vaccine, then don't take it. But then why do you need to send out stuff about people who take the vaccines silly and dumb? I think it's too divisive. If you want to take it, take it. It's a choice. It's not mandatory yet. Take it. If you do not want to take it, do not take it. But not to get in argument with people because of their views. Let's learn to accept people where they are and accept their position.
Well, Pam, the people who don't take the vaccine feel they are being attacked when health officials keep saying that the only people dying are the people who aren't vaccinated. For some reason, they see that as a personal attack, which is very weird. But that's a reality. The people who are dying are the unvaccinated. That's not an attack on you or your mental acuity. That's just a reality. If you feel slighted by that, that's a different story. You got to deal with that on your own, right? That's all we can say to you. But that is the fact.
Right. I think the divisiveness of the argument, everybody has to make up their mind, I think, for themselves. If you want to take it, take it. If you don't want to take it, don't take it. But then when you start to attack people for not taking it or for taking it, I think that's when we get into problems. And I don't think you're going to be successful if you charge at somebody either way. You're not going to be successful in getting your point across. You're just going to push them further and further away from your position.
Yeah. So this texter goes on to say that the Minister of Immigration took the vaccine. He was sick. People who take the vaccine, they're still getting COVID, yes, but they're not dying from COVID. They get sick and then they recover. Right? But a lot of people who get sick who aren't vaccinated, a lot of them die. Not everybody, no, but a lot of them. Enough to cause a crisis at all the hospitals in the country. You got that? That's pretty simple.
And then, Dwight, as well, I think whether you took the vaccine or not, we all have to be careful. Because not because you took the vaccine, it means that you should go around and, socialize.
Licking every doorknob or something.
Yeah, because you could give it to somebody who didn't take it, and that could have serious consequences. So whether you took it or not, we all have to be careful. And I know, Dwight, it's easy because I tell myself sometimes, look here, I see why some people get this. Because you can imagine going, not even in a crowded area, but going into an area and you really don't know people's status. And there are people out there, if you go to a function, small scale, man, they just up in your face and they're talking and they will shake your hand and they will hug you and you don't want to say, well,
you should say it. Feel free to say it. There's no problem saying it.
Well, see, if you with somebody that you kind of know, if you know the person, you be like, hey, you put on your fist. But if somebody that you don't know and they're just trying to be kind, it's weird.
Just say, I wish I could, but you know what's going on, and then give them the fist bump.
Well, only because the grace of God there for me then, because I'm like, oh Lord, we should not be doing this during this time. But right. I can see how these things can happen because there are persons out there who COVID is done for them. They're back to the way things are. They are hugging. They are putting their hands out to be shaken, and they're socializing.
Very, very sad. Let's take these calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. Good morning to all.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, we like to talk about education or lack of education, but it's a problem all over the world. And we live in information age, so there's no excuse for lack of education. People just convicted one way or the next. And we talk right now about what our issues right now is policies in terms of our economic state. You see, we have capitalist free market policies, and these things have downturns, and COVID shows us. Every 7 years they have issues. Besides the lack of social well-being, social well-being of our people. You see, we look at we take cues from nations like the U.S. Right? We don't really take the income tax cue from them, but we need to take our cues from the European nations, all of them, East and West. You see, these people who are heavily taxed. You see what I'm saying? We in the Bahamas be afraid. We don't want to be taxed because of our interests of our private good.
Okay.
You see,
Thank you very much.
Interest. You see, so that's how in this country we need to stop partaking of the economic system of the world and not want to partake of the vaccine of the world. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. We've got another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi.
Good morning.
Dwight, first I want to say we got to pray for America for the things America going through. My other point is this vaccine, right, is a distraction because the thing is nobody's saying anything about the country in which put this causes vaccine to be on countries, and our people are dying.
Okay. All right. You keep talking about this all these months later.
Say it again?
Yeah. Okay. We keep talking about this all these months later. I mean, what do you want to happen?
Right?
What we don't know that for sure.
But somebody do the investigation.
We got to save lives too. That's probably more important than that right now. But okay, we hear you, and others have said the same thing. But okay. All right. Thank you very much. Let's get back to these text messages here. I don't understand what the problem is. Miss Dem just got vaccines and all the appointments are filled. So what's the problem? What Miss needs to do is open more registration sites for walk-up vaccinations. Okay.
And I think they have said that they are going to do it. And I think that's a good idea as well, is to give a lot of the private clinics and stuff access to be able to distribute it too. So I think you would even have more persons, they can go to a private facility and get the vaccine. They would probably do that as opposed to standing on the lines, to get a vaccine. So I think that will help. And they have said that they're going to do that.
This text here, what I'm sad about is that the Prime Minister is warning us that this could happen to the healthcare system from last year. Well, yeah. And, sure. And it appears that we did very little to prepare the healthcare system as well for what we knew could happen, right? We were distracted with some other things, I guess. Another one here, someone says, tell Pam to stop it. She herself has finally come around to getting the vaccine. Months ago, 90% of talk show hosts and guests on Guardian Radio were either raising doubts about taking the vaccine or outright being against it.
Well, I have said...
that's exactly how that went. I think people were skeptical about AstraZeneca. Quite a few of us were a little skeptical and were hoping for some other options. I know, and people were waiting to see. But okay, well, that's.
I don't think I've said it. I don't think I'd said it publicly, my position on it. But privately, myself and my family, we were like, okay, we're not gonna be first in line. We're gonna wait for some people to try it out, and then we're going to check it out. Yeah. And then when I looked and they were talking about how, if you have comorbidities and people can die from it, the first step was, okay, we need to get the persons in the family that are. And so one started and we all decided that, this is the way to go.
And that's not an unreasonable position to have. Let's see what happens to the first few. And then give them about a month. And then, okay. All right, well, y'all.
Yeah, I was definitely going to be first in line for it. But it is what it is. And even initially I told myself, okay, I'm taking this, but I'm not sure I'm just taking this. I'm not sure I would want to take a booster shot. And I think that if this continues much longer, I will probably be right there and get it. And I told myself, okay, I'm going to take this to get over this. But I read an article last night that said that this thing could go on for remote working could go on for another 2 years or so, right?
Oh man, Pam, so we're gonna have our semi-annual booster shots. This is gonna be.
I think if it lingers on, and I have to take a booster shot, I probably would.
You did Pfizer, right? You did Pfizer, so it's already guaranteed. It seems. Yeah,
well, I mean, the U.S. is telling their people 8 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, 8 months they're gonna do a booster, but I'm saying if it lingers on, I've never taken any of the flu shots prior to. I don't know if I will take it after this either. But for this period and what this virus, and it's because it's mutating and it's becoming even more dangerous, I just want to protect myself and give myself and my family members that are in my circle that I, have influence over a fighting chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take these calls quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
God bless. Good morning, Dwight. Morning, Pam.
Good morning.
Good morning to the Bahamas. A couple of quick points. First of all, I've already gotten vaccinated. I happen also to be one of those persons who does believe very much in being safe still, wearing the mask, washing the hands. I practice all of those safety protocols, and I dare say everybody should be that responsible. Unfortunately, not everybody is, but we all should be. Secondly, I honestly believe that the Prime Minister, in light of the crisis, the health crisis in the country right now, should not have called election at this point, given the increasingly rapid pace of COVID-19 spread and deaths. Last year, the whole country was shut down. It was nowhere near as bad as it is now. So being that it is as bad as it is, we should have left that election until next year sometime, even if it had to have been postponed beyond May of next year. But it is what it is. Also, in regards to one's voting in this upcoming election, Palm, I really enjoy listening to you, particularly on Monday mornings. But, I have a problem fundamentally with something you said earlier and what other people may say in respect to people either spoiling their ballots or not voting. Our democratic right to choose a government is a serious thing. It's serious because then a government is chosen. Whether we voted for them or not, we have to live as Bahamians in this country. We have to live with that decision that the majority of Bahamians made. So my point in saying all of that is, I honestly believe that it is, with all due respect to you and others, very irresponsible to encourage anybody either to spoil their ballots, not that you said that part, Palm, or not to vote. Because, we have the DNA out there, we have the independents out there. I think it would be best and more democratic and more wholesome to encourage persons, if you don't want to vote for the FNM and if you don't want to vote for the PLP, vote for another political organization. But don't encourage people to spoil their ballots or not to vote.
But what if you have no confidence in anybody running? What if
well, at that point, then you exercise your prerogative after you would have checked out the entire list. If you don't see confidence in any, exercise your right to stay home. But my point is,
that sends a stronger message, though. When you it potentially sends a stronger message. All of these people suck.
Well, if you have 10 people in your area and you are of the view that all of them is not qualified to get your vote, then after you would have looked at all 10 of them, and you have that view, then exercise your right not to vote at that point. But my point is, I honestly believe that it is very detrimental for persons to be encouraged not to vote for any other alternative if it's not the PLP and the FM. And I'm not saying that you said that, Tom, but that's the way it sounded like.
Right. What I was saying was, look at the candidates. Look at all of them.
Yeah.
And if none of them impress you, I say you still get dressed, go to the polls, and then vote what you feel. That's a decision.
Yeah, one will have to follow their conscience. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
But and even if you get to the voting poll and you realize there and then none of these persons suit your fancy, then it's like you're right then to choose not to vote for any of them. But I just find it very troubling when I hear professors at COB or anyone else encouraging people to specifically and intentionally go out there and spoil their ballots or not to vote just because. The FNM and the PLP are not the only games in town. God bless you all and have a wonderful day.
Okay, all right, thanks a lot. When you go to the news, I think we have another caller, but I don't think we have time for that. Let's go to the news, and then we'll pick it up. We have a lot of your text messages to get to, and we want to talk about the Ministry of Education, what they're saying about this school year. They had been, before the weekend, saying that they were going to do a hybrid system, but now they are saying virtual only for public schools. We'll talk about that as well. A lot to get through on this Monday morning. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're back after the news. Stay with us.
I can feel the paradise before my world implodes. And tonight had something wonderful. My bad habits lead to late nights, sitting alone, conversations with a stranger I barely know, swearing this will be the last, but it probably won't.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend at 969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:23, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got a robust high-pressure ridge combined with a dense plume of Saharan dust. That's going to continue to generate moderate to fresh breezes across the area. Drier conditions as well, more stable conditions across the country through tonight. For all areas, your forecast calls for partly sunny to sunny, hot, hazy, and breezy conditions with a few isolated showers, turning fair to partly cloudy and warm tonight. Smoke craft advisory in effect for the central and southeast Bahamas. Another hot day in store, highs getting up to around 92 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will make it feel even hotter, up to 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius, and with another day of heat indices in the triple digits, everybody's being urged to remain hydrated and limit outdoor activities. In your extended outlook, current weather conditions will persist for tomorrow. Meanwhile, a strong tropical wave will usher in a round of showers and thunderstorms as it moves across the island by midweek. So for Tuesday, tomorrow, look for partly sunny, hot, hazy, and breezy conditions with a few isolated showers, mainly in the southeast Bahamas. Wednesday, variably cloudy, hot, and breezy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. In the tropics, Henri is dissipating, is now a tropical depression, but still impacting portions of southern New England and the northern mid-Atlantic states. Elsewhere, we've got a broad area of low pressure located several hundred miles west-southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. It has a low or 10% chance of cyclone formation through the next 5 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. And 8:26, time For another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In your real-time traffic, we're seeing some heavy traffic out there this hour. We're seeing from Fire Trail all the way up to Tawny Blooms Darling Highway on Milo Butler Highway. We've seen that in the northbound lanes. Gladstone Road looking a little bit better for you, but the closer you get to JFK Drive, you'll be seeing that traffic. With Milo Butler Highway, that traffic is, you said, backed up all the way, and you're going to see it backed up a bit on Tawny Blooms Darling Highway as well as you approach that roundabout with Milo Butler Highway. Both westbound and eastbound on Tawny Williams Darling Highway. Blue Hill Road also busy for you this morning. North of Soldier Road, you will see that heavy traffic as usual in the northbound lanes. And the traffic is building near that junction with Carmichael and Blue Hill. And elsewhere, we are seeing Soldier Road and East Street, some heavy traffic at that intersection. And East Street, just north of Soldier Road, the northbound lanes to East-West Highway. And Soldier and Old Trail has been busy ever since Nassau Christian Academy reopened. So keep that in mind. That's congested in that area as well. Then some of the major intersections, you'll be seeing some heavy traffic at this time. That's what we're looking at. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined.
Every time you come around, you know I can't say no. Every time the sun goes down, I let you take control. I can feel the paradise before my world implodes. And tonight had something wonderful. My bad habits lead to late nights, sitting alone. Conversations with a stranger I barely know. Swearing this will be the last, but it probably won't. I got nothing left to lose or use or do. My bad habits lead to white eyes staring into space, and I know I lose control of the things that I say. Yeah, I was looking for a way out, now I can't escape. Nothing happens after 2. It's true.
And we are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong along with Pamela Musgrove on this Monday morning. We are talking about what's in the news, talking about the Prime Minister's national address last night about COVID and what we're seeing here, urging people to get vaccinated, urging all of the influencers to come together and urge people to get vaccinated. And we're getting your reaction to all of that. We're going to talk about it in a bit, what the Ministry of Education is saying as well about schools reopening only virtually, no longer the hybrid system initially, next week. All right, and you can call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. All right, now, before the break, some people were calling us out for being hesitant and not exactly jumping on the bandwagon for the vaccines initially. And somebody says here, Pam doesn't owe anyone an explanation about her vaccination status. She has every right to change her mind. Why are people acting as if you committed some great betrayal if you decided to get vaccinated when initially you were reluctant? I agree entirely.
Amen.
We all were doing our research and trying to find out more about it and trying to figure out if having COVID before meant something, or if you were allergic to things, if that was going to have an impact, if you had bad allergies, if you can't take a swab up your nostrils, if you have horrible allergies like myself, all these things we wanted to find out before we made any decisions about things. And now that we learn more, you adjust, you pivot.
Yeah.
Especially hearing that everybody who's dying is unvaccinated, and most of the people who are very, very ill in the hospital are unvaccinated. That tells you a lot. No? Anyway. All right. I want to get to these text messages, but we got calls. Let's take these calls quickly, and then we'll get back to your messages. Good morning, caller. You are on the air.
Yes, good morning, Bahamas. Good morning, Pamela. Welcome back. And you, Dwight.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just let me say, Pam, you're absolutely correct, concerning the voting. The problem is that in the Bahamas, we have a proxy voting system, and most people have accepted now that voting for an F&M candidate is a proxy voting for Hubert Alexander Minnis. And if the Free National Movement won't change leadership, I guess the Bahamas must change from the Free National Movement. Dwight, just let me say to you and to others, right, Bahamians are not okay. The Prime Minister made it seem as if in his speech that Bahamians are okay except for this COVID thing. Bahamians are not okay. We're not at a breaking point anymore. We are broken. The problem is that what we have is a public health system that's overwhelmed, education system that's challenged, housing crisis looming, job labor market that doesn't seem to be coming back. We play in an economic crisis with no economic reform that has been promised. We are facing a food insecurity crisis, which then leads to a national insecurity crisis, immigration crisis. But and the Prime Minister talk about this need to come together as a group, and that we are in this crisis, and we need to get vaccinated. My question to the Prime Minister would be, did he know these things before he called an election? Remember, he knew that we were going to have delivery of the vaccines. He knew about all of the other things, like no one knew except him. But yet, it was not important enough for him to prioritize us getting vaccinated and actually having processes for which voting can actually occur in a safe manner, because we don't know how that's going to happen. We don't understand if the school is with 20 people in the classroom is unsafe, then how does 194,000 people going into those same classrooms is going to be safe for voting? And so the question is exactly what strategy there is. So that only leaves one question, Dwight, and we must ask ourselves, look at all of the conditions we are in and the leadership with Dr. Hubert Alexander Minnis. Why did he call an election at this very moment in the height of this crisis? There's something that's not being said. There's something that we're not being told that mandated that something happen. And so that's the question we have to ask, that if we can't get honesty from our leader, then we should seek leadership who will give us the truth that we want to have. So, because it's scary. Where you would risk putting tens of thousands of Bahamians at the risk of death in a collapsing in a health system to call an election at a time as this, when you say you have enough vaccine to do everybody? Ask yourself a question, right? If we were going to average 10,000 vaccine per week, doesn't that mean in 12 weeks that we could then basically have the whole country in a position, and we have until May 2022 to call the election? What's the rush? Something is wrong. And I say to you, it's an economic collapse. It's an impending economic collapse that we are not telling the people, and the truth must be told if we want leadership to go forward.
Okay. All right. Very interesting. Wow. Got another call. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Glenn. We have economically collapsed already. See, the thing is, I'm not mad that you lied to me. I'm kind of mad that I can't believe anything you say ever again. And that goes back. Is Palm still there?
I'm still here.
Yeah, that goes back to the word trust. Palm, you really can't trust someone who lied to you before, because you just have to realize that maybe everything they're saying, you have to check it. We have the other saying. We say that, the voice of the people is the voice of God, meaning that when you go to vote, whichever outcome is, you label it some God fiction. But I'm saying if this is the best that God can do for us, we really got to help ourselves. So it's really up to us to really see.
It is up to us. It is up to us. We have to do things differently.
Yes. Now, Palm, I want you to picture this scenario. I want you to picture. I know. I want to bring you a scenario. We see all these little yellow and red things on the road, right?
Right.
Probably is about $40 million that could feed people, go to war, immigration assistance, and crime. But no, we want to advertise. But I want you to picture something in your mind, Palm. I want you to picture this yellow representing a big round object, and this red representing the red spot that you can find on Jupiter, and the green representing the small little Earth in the middle. Now, I want you to Google Jupiter at opposition, and you'll clearly see that the stars are that we need to get rid of being between these two fiery beings. PLP and that's for them. Look at it, Palms. Jupiter at opposition. It happened at the time when the Prime Minister prorogued the House. That's so nice about the celestial objects.
Okay. All right.
Check it out.
Yeah. Homework, Pam. Okay. Some of your text messages here. Where are we going? Let's see. I read a lot of messages here. This one says here. Okay, read that already. We are losing so many police officers and nurses in this COVID fight. Ask the nation to pray for them. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of great people we're losing. A lot of great people. Another one here. It happened to me. I said I was rocking with Doc. I admit I made a big mistake 3 years ago. I couldn't wait for him to ring so I could correct my mistake. Okay. This one says here, our speech has nothing to do with politics. How is it that people that trying to get people to get vaccinated has become political? The show is now politics. We need to get a life. Okay.
I think to this that texter, what has happened, I think, over the last couple election cycles, the focus is on politics and not governance. I think this is a game for them, the politics. So the prime minister has the right to call the election. He has to call it at a time strategically best for him, but no concern about governance, that you call an election during a time like this. If you had said, okay, we have like the call before, we have a lot of vaccines in country, we're going to push to get as much people vaccinated, and then maybe after we get a certain percentage of the population vaccinated, then we will go to the polls. But that what I guess the strategists on the governing side feels as though then that may not be the right time to strike the iron. Because it would be in the prime minister's favor. But it's a lot on politicking or politicking and not enough on governance.
Someone says here, what's the purpose of all these red and gold lawn signs? Are they to show you who not to vote for? Well, we are all trying to figure out what they thought they were trying to accomplish there. Okay, the messages are flying in and I can't keep up. This one here, it's a lack of humility for me with Minnis. We done know you couldn't do everything you promised, but the fact that he can't properly defend the legislative fails before Dorian and ain't even trying to correct things was it for me. There is not even a hint of remorse or regret. He's trying to pull an Ingram by being stubborn and just press on, but he failed to appreciate that his base ain't as big as Ingram's, and he's eroded the base of the party even more now. Wow. Okay. This one says here, this is really a new day. Anton's contribution was really refreshing. We are going down a dark end with regards to this virus, and the competent authority won't change course. But this person says, education, if you are vaccinated, you will not die. Oh, where did it go? Yeah. If you are unvaccinated, you may die and potentially incubate even more deadly mutations. What is difficult to understand there? Over the weekend, Trump encouraged Americans, especially his supporters, to get vaccinated. He told them that he is fully vaccinated and that he is fine. He seems like the liberal mainstream media, liberal mainstream media like CNN finally agreed with something he said. Okay. This person says, I actually agreed with Anton before the last point that it has to be education. Education is key, but we haven't done a good job of carrying a consistent message. Saying don't listen to fake news ain't it. A lot of fake news was actually real news. This text here, we call for IRCA to demand ZNS give equal time to other political parties on ZNS because Minnis was campaigning last night. Okay, well, ZNS is not the only game in town, but okay, sure. This one says, Pam and Dwight, we don't want to take the vaccine. We aren't ignorant. We are informed. We don't want it because of the unforeseen side effects. So please. Okay, I guess they're tired of us making appeals.
And that's fine. If they don't want to take it, that's fine. That's their choice.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
This one says here, you have to wonder why places like Israel, New Zealand, Australia, who are almost fully vaccinated, did everything right, yet they are in lockdown now with record daily COVID cases.
Well, New Zealand locked down for one person. They went in a lockdown a couple of weeks for one person. They found, and he was he traveled, and they found it, and so she put them in lockdown.
Yeah, but I think they said overnight they had 34 cases, so it's
so it probably grew from there.
Yeah,
I guess but at the time they did that was just one.
Wow. This person says here, as an unvaccinated person, I do think some emphasis on some vaccinated people think that we're crazy or being irresponsible. Meanwhile, I watch many of them drop their guard and don't protect themselves while I eat and drink behind my mask while I'm around them. But the people to rave against the vaccines, should they be allowed to clog up the hospital? Wow. Okay. This one says here, a fact. Dwight, you and Pam have no morals, eh? You're all talking about facts. Fact is, this ain't no vax. The doc said so on Friday. The CDC says it's not facts. Okay, you've got to stop this. Seriously. Okay? Yeah. Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay. Anyway. Okay, another one here. It's important to state that one is either vaccinated or unvaccinated. Only folks who got both shots or one in the case of Johnson & Johnson are vaccinated. This partial vaccinated talk is creating confusion.
But with the Johnson & Johnson, do you still have to wait the 2-week period before you're fully vaccinated, or as you get the shot, you're vaccinated?
It's tough to wait the 2 weeks, but you know that a booster is going to be required. So, but yeah. This one says here, I'm not sure if it was mentioned as yet on the show as I came into it a bit late, but Pfizer is about to officially be FDA approved, according to the U.S. News. A lot of Bahamians were saying that they were skeptical because the vaccines were not FDA approved. So hopefully this approval encourages others. Yes, we talked about it earlier. That is expected to happen today. Yeah. So will you be hosting a debate for party leaders? Take your mind off debate. That is not going to happen anymore. Right?
That ship has sailed there.
That ship is so far beyond the horizon. Yeah, no. People tell me they're called lawn signs. They are ridiculous. That's what it is.
Well, do you think it's replacing? Because normally what would have happened would be a lot of posters. So do you think this method, because it seems to be quick, is now replacing the posters that they stuck up on?
They put those in that night, the day that the election was called, and that night. And then I've been seeing them putting up the posters now. So they've been posting on the posts and stapling them on trees. That seems a bit, I don't know if we should be doing that.
But they always did that, though. They always
staple them on trees?
Yeah, trees and your trees and the lamp poles.
The lamp poles, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it's everything. We're being bombarded by the lawn signs, the posters,
they obviously have a lot of money.
The printers are, I mean, this is, wow. They
obviously have it. I think what they should do, they should go up on the custom duty for political paraphernalia. I think they should go up. The government should increase duty.
Oh, wow.
80%.
Okay. All right, let's take these calls really quickly, then we've got to take a break. Good morning, caller, you're on the air.
Good morning, Glenn. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning.
Wonderful. Pam,
yes, sir.
How do you think that the government is going to increase tax on itself? Come on now. Okay? That ain't going to happen. Now, probably it is, if it's for the inner city or for those poor people down in Ragged Island, sure. They will put that tax to quick. Matter of fact, if they were to retain the government, that will happen within 7 days. Okay, tax will increase for all of us. Okay, so what's happening is all this money that they're spending and stuff like that, it could have gone for an educational program about the same COVID thing. Okay, the last night's speech wasn't all of that. Okay, here it is a prime minister who's like he's in training, you know, and then he tells you to vote for me. Even though he didn't deliver the stuff that he promised for the past 4 years. Okay? And then he borrowed $4 billion of our money, okay, for us to pay back, man. Okay? And then I must ignore all of that and vote you back in? What type of stupid I am, man? Thanks for letting me share.
Okay, all right. We'll take this final call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, guys. How are you this morning?
Hi, good morning.
Yes, I have a little twist on this. Dwight, you remember the e-procurement bill that was supposed to be passed in Parliament?
Yep, I do.
How is it now that Parliament has been prorogued and I think it was IMF was asking about to give a what's his name asking, but give a record how the money was spent, right? How is it now? Quincy Thompson is saying that they're going to present it at the end of the month. How is that going to happen?
A record? Are they presenting a record of what was spent?
No, they said they have to pass a bill in Parliament in order to present, they have to pass a law in order to present how the money was spent. Okay?
No, but everything is falling off, so there's nothing wrong.
I know that. But I'm saying to you this. I have an idea, Dwight and Palm. Listen, it's easy right now to get more people to be vaccinated, you know. But the Prime Minister message is not resonating because he told so much untruth to the Bahamian people for so long, they're not listening to him. All the Prime Minister has to do, all right, you see the number houses, right? Collaborate with the number houses. The number houses have to pay tax every quarter, okay? Give them a tax break. And each person that take the first job gets $50, not put on their account. They get $50 in cash. And when you get the second job, you get the other $50. And at the end of the quarter, just deduct that from their tax revenue. That's simple. The government wouldn't have spent $1, okay? But you know what happened is, these guys, they're so caught up in their politics, they can't see that other Bahamians have ideas that can help the country move forward. Thank you.
Okay, that's an interesting one. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about what the Ministry of Education is proposing. That's when we get back with Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
She tell me she ain't no cutter, but she'll go out with me. She say that she drinks Calyx, but only 3, and then she's done. I tell her I wish they had Calyx or drips, so party can done. She tell me she's a friend to know. I tell her I'm the one to trust. I tell her when we go to the dance, it's only just 2 of us. So we reach to the dance and she say, this my song, then she
Pediasure, the #1 brand recommended by pediatricians, now has 33% less sugar compared to previous formula and provides 25 vitamins and minerals and 7 grams of protein kids need for a healthy growth. It's a convenient meal or snack with a delicious kids-approved taste they'll love. Pediasure, nutrition to help kids grow. Ask your pediatrician about Pediasure today.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAO, growing wealth for future generations.
Be prepared for the rainy season with an RBC loan to fund your rainy season essentials. For hurricane shutters, generators, solar power systems, or general home repair, RBC offers a range of flexible and competitive financing solutions. Let us help you get started at rbc.com/Caribbean/get-a-loan. Special conditions apply. Reimagine your rainy season readiness with RBC financing.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Technology serves to make our lives better. So why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
You've tried everything. ASUS with your mother's cousin's sister's auntie, and even hiding your money under your mattress. But is your money safe? Your Bahamian dollar deposit in a member bank or credit union is insured up to $50,000. If anything happens, your deposit up to the insured value will be returned to you thanks to Deposit Insurance. Visit Deposit Insurance Corporation at www.dic.bf.
Protection for your money guaranteed with DIC.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Get ready to mash this party up. It's Rick and Script full non-stop. Hey! Rick and Script. Rick and Script. D-Max style. Rick and Script. Oh, yeah. Rick and Script. I see you coming from a mile away, girl. Rick and Script. I see ya coming. Girl, I see ya. Hey! She says she's a real good girl. She only goes to church then home. I say I'm a real good guy like Rick and Script. I stay in my zone. She says she don't party hard. I tell her I'm a partier. She tell me she ain't no cutter, but she'll go out with me. She say that she drinks Calyx, but only 3, and then she's done. I tell her.
I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. Everybody searching for a hero.
Here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Pamela Musgrove on this Monday morning. And just a few days after the Minister of Education announced its public schools will be reopening with a hybrid system, statement over the weekend from the Minister of Education saying that the ministry is going to a virtual learning format initially. Instead, that's going to start on August 30th, next week, Monday. That statement saying that while the preferred mode of instructional delivery continues to be face-to-face, the ministry remains guided by the mantra of safety first, education always. That statement also saying that as many of our students and educators will be returning from summer travel, the Ministry of Education is of the opinion that online instruction will assist us in reducing the chances of experiencing a spike in COVID-19 cases throughout the country. We think that this action is necessary given the state of our nation's healthcare system. Therefore, out of an abundance of caution, the decision has been made to reopen schools via the online format. The decision will be reviewed in a few weeks. At this time, the Ministry of Education strongly urges all private schools to adopt a similar position by engaging their students using a virtual platform. Nevertheless, those independent schools that wish to proceed with some face-to-face instructional activities must seek approval from the Ministry of Education. It says that in the interim, parents are encouraged to secure all the necessary materials which will enable students to benefit from the virtual learning environment. And at a minimum, each student should have a device along with a dedicated space that is conducive to online learning. All right. So let's get your reaction to this. Again, this is happening as numbers are increasing and people are still traveling, as the statement says, and will be coming back from likely hotspots around the globe. There are many of those now. And that this initially, at least, will be the best way to go. But we heard in the news earlier, we heard the BUT president, Belinda Wilson, saying that, her voicing her concerns about this, although the union agrees that this is the best way to go. But they do have concerns about those who were left in the cracks in the last school year. So many just dropped out, essentially, just didn't take part in the virtual learning format and have not been heard from for this entire school year, basically. What do we do about that?
I understand, the healthcare system is overwhelmed. So I understand that you don't want to add to that, but this is bad for education. This is bad, I think, for education. And another, I don't think they think about it from the perspective as well. Just take, for instance, you have a mother who is a beautician and she has to go out to work. And she doesn't have anybody to be at home to watch her kids. Mm-hmm. They're gonna go to Grammy, or they're gonna go down the road, and other kids will be there, and so there you still have this mingling, and which can result to a community spread in COVID that I don't think we are taking note for. And I would like to know what was done during this time, because on a chat that I was a part of, somebody had said, I haven't heard anything from the union or on education or from the government on education. And I told him, I said, wait for a week before school, and then it's gonna begin all over again. What was being done during this time to ensure that, one, the schools were ready if you had to go face to face, and two, to ensure that if you had to do online remote, there were improvements in the technology so that we can, as much as possible, give the kids the education that they need. I don't think a lot was done. And so we are on this again. And so it's going to add to the challenges we have with education, particularly the public school system.
Wow. We can take a couple of your calls. 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us. Tell us what you think about this. Got a few messages here. Oh boy. This goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Someone says here, as a nurse, I heard my coworkers say that they were waiting on Pfizer, but now that it's here, they're saying they're not taking it because they don't know what Minutes put in it. Boy. So if Minutes waited 10 years, the people will not get vaccinated. It's really unfortunate. We have to stop this nonsense, right?
And I'm sorry for the person who basing their health on what they feel about Dr. Minutes. I think that's not wise at all. So I feel sorry for them if that's the basis of their decision. I don't think there's anything we can do to change their mind. So to each his own.
That person needs a special type of help. Yeah. Wow. My goodness. And others are saying they just don't want it. They just don't want the vaccine, so stop harassing them. Okay. Well, well, there we go. Okay. Hey, we're going to hear, we're told that the Minister of Education is going to be giving a national address this evening at 8 p.m., and we'll hear from him. More on this. Maybe he'll answer some of those questions you had. He was with us last week and said some of these things, but it's just been a lot of wait and see. A lot depending on how the numbers go, unfortunately.
Where it would be nice to have a unity meeting, a coming together. The Prime Minister talked about the vaccine on education. Mm-hmm. With the ministry and the union to just come together, put their differences aside, and come together for the children on the way forward. For the public school system, I think that would be wonderful.
I think you're more likely to see the Prime Minister and the leaders of all the parties than that one.
Well, we said that before the election, but before the Prime Minister's asking all of them to come together. So who knows?
Who knows? Anything's possible now.
Maybe, yeah. I think that needs to happen for the personalities to fall away, and the parents and representatives from parents to come together and decide on a way forward, because this is not good for education. This is not helping the children. And then we try to grab onto little stuff like, now I heard the minister say one of the factors used to determine if you're doing well in education is graduation rates.
Yeah.
And we know people are graduating from school and employers are complaining that they don't have the basics for them to employ them. So that should not be it. Right? There should be a standardized exam that anybody who's taken this exam and passed it, we know you have the basic skills in order to function in the country. Mm-hmm. So I just think that we could get a coming together with those segment of society for education. I think we may get ourselves on a better path.
Well, again, we're expecting to hear more 8 o'clock tonight from the minister, but for now, education virtual only in the public schools beginning Monday. And we'll see what else he has to say about that tonight. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Morning Blend Business, we are talking with NIB, the National Insurance Board, about some of their procedures, including pension verification and smart cards. That's coming up after the break for news. This is Morning Blend. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
And welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Monday, August 23rd, 2021. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I am Dwight Strachan, and once again with me, Pamela Musgrove. And this morning, we are talking with the National Insurance Board about pensions, the pension verification process, and the smart card procedures. Very pleased to have with us from NIB, Diane Major and Tonique Williams. Great to have you both with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
So, you know, this is a big thing, and it happens twice a year for the pension verification. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Good morning to your listening audience also, Dwight and Ms. Musgrove. So, yes, pension verification happens twice a year. It's always the long-term, and this is for long-term pensions. It's always the birth month and then 6 months thereafter. And so if your birthday is in January, you would have to verify in January, and then you would have to verify again in July. And so we're asking all persons who have not verified within the last 6 months, we're asking them to verify by August 31st. That's next week, Tuesday. So you have a week to get it done. We're asking you to verify before August 31st to avoid the suspension of your benefit. We do have quite a number of persons who did not verify in 2020 as a result of COVID.
Of course.
And so we want all those persons who have not verified to go ahead and do so before next week, Tuesday.
All right, so before we get into the process, let's talk about that, what happened last year and the impact that's had and how you've been able to function with, I guess, not knowing what the real status is of these individuals.
Yes, and so what NIB would have done, we would have limited our face-to-face services, of course, out of an abundance of caution for our employees, but also for the customers. Most of our pensioners are receiving the retirement benefit, and so these tend to be our older citizens. And so we would have put processes in place where they can verify online, or they can verify using our drop boxes that are located outside of all of our locations. And so if persons did verify last year in 2020, they maintained their verification status and their eligibility. But also if persons did not get to verify during 2020, NIB did not suspend anybody's long-term benefit. At the beginning of the year in January, we would have sent out a notice, just like we're doing today, and we would have told our pensioners, okay, it's time to verify it again. Many persons did verify. There are still many out there who have not verified as yet. We're now asking you to verify. We had a deadline of July 1st this year. Still, there was no suspension of benefits. We've extended that deadline to August 31st, and we're really pushing. We have some 12,000 plus persons who are in that group, and that's just not 2020, but we have people even before that. So we're urging, if you hear this message, please get verified with NIB as soon as possible. We want to make sure everybody's verified before next week, Tuesday, August 31st.
So what is the absolute deadline? When will you all decide that, okay, well, we've not heard from this person, we just have to suspend administering the benefits here?
Well, we want to remind everyone that there's a reason why you have to verify with NIB. First of all, when you verify, we know that you're still alive, okay? And so we don't want to pay pension checks to persons that are no longer alive. Secondly, when you verify, you're also verifying that the conditions that made you eligible for the pension benefit still exist. So for example, if you were receiving the survivor's benefit, maybe you had a spouse that passed, you may not be eligible for that benefit anymore if you remarried. And so this is why you're verifying. We want to know that you're still alive, but we also want to know the circumstance that made you eligible for your pension benefit or your pension assistance still exists. And so, like I said, we did not suspend anyone in 2020. And so we now need to make sure that all of these persons are still eligible. And I will tell you, Dwight, we do have some persons that haven't verified before 2020. And so it's very important that we carry out this exercise and to make sure that everyone who's entitled to a benefit is receiving it.
Mm-hmm. So again, how much longer before, if you don't hear anything, before that'll be that for them?
Right. And so as I mentioned earlier, our deadline is August 31st, and that is next week, Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. So that's it.
And so after August 31st, if persons did not come to be verified, even those who weren't verified prior to 2020, you're going to cease payment.
Right. And so we're carrying out this exercise so that NIB can ensure that everyone that is entitled to a benefit is receiving a benefit, and that we're not paying persons who are no longer entitled to those benefits or assistances.
So you're going to cease payment. You're just going to stop the payment. Because I think that's the only way you can get persons in to be verified, if you just stop paying them if they don't come in to be verified.
So we've started our campaign. Like I said, from January of this year, we would have been sending out these notices. We have put notices on our Facebook page, on our website. We have ads running in our papers. We're doing any number of radio shows like we're doing today. We have news coverage. We're trying to reach our pensioners in every single way that we can, because it is important. We know that persons have been moving about because of COVID and so many other reasons. We want to make sure that we take every measure, every channel is used in terms of reaching our pensioners. Like I said, when we started this exercise, there were some 14,000 people that were identified. And that number has been dropping. And so we feel like the campaign is moving along pretty well. We've seen the impact since we have been on the radio. And so we're continuing to push throughout the rest of the week. and hopefully persons will, they'll get in contact with NIB. There are many ways that you can verify, and so we encourage persons to do so right away.
And okay, and if you are, if you are dropped, it's not as simple to get back on. Is that right?
No, it's not. It takes maybe a month or 2 months before you are reinstated. So that's the reason why we are encouraging persons to please come and be verified. And yes, the 31st will be that deadline. After that, anyone not verified will be suspended. Okay. And there's so many ways, we have suspended face-to-face, but there are other ways for you to be verified. The majority of our pensioners did come into one of our offices prior to COVID to be verified. Mm-hmm. So we have a list of sanctioned authorities who can notarize these forms for our pensioners. They can go to their minister of religion, a bank manager, a magistrate, a consul or attorney, a justice of the peace, a notary public. There's a whole list of persons, a senior public officer. You can go to any of these persons to notarize your form indicating that you are alive. And those forms can be dropped in a drop box at any of our offices or emailed into our verifications department. We have also placed blank forms at super value food stores, at gas stations, at the government clinics. You can go to the security at any of our offices and collect the blank forms. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for all of our pensioners to come, get their forms, be verified, so that they are not suspended. We don't want to have to cease payment to someone who's entitled to it. But on the same token, we don't want to be paying out monies to persons who are not entitled to it any longer.
Absolutely. If somebody is invalid, though, what can be done in a situation? Let's say they live alone and they are not very mobile. What can be done in that situation?
Well, that's a person who can utilize their minister of religion to sign their form. The family member can get the form, have it completed. Even if that person is not able to sign their signature, there's a section on the form where they can just mark an X once it's witnessed by someone, and the minister of religion can sign that form.
All right. Let's do. Someone's asking again, but let's do that one more time. Go through the various steps that you need to do to complete. And it's basically just 3 steps, right, to complete the verification. Tell us about it from the beginning.
To complete the form, you obtain a blank form from any of our offices, or like I say, the gas station, clinics, food stores. You complete that form. You can either email that completed form into our verifications department at verification@nib-bahamas.com, or you can drop that completed form into a Dropbox. Dropboxes are at all of our offices.
Okay, before you go on, so would taking a photo of the form and emailing it that way, would that be acceptable?
That is acceptable.
Okay, great. And then you said to certify it, you mentioned all those people that you could get to certified, even the bank manager.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can just list that so that everyone is aware how they can get this form certified. You can use a senior public officer, an ordained minister of religion, a bank manager, a magistrate, a counsel or attorney, a justice of the peace, a notary public, and if you live outside of the Bahamas, again, the notary public, the chief of police, or a lawyer.
Wow. Okay. All right. And then step 3, as you said, drop it off or email it.
Yes.
Yes, you can drop it off at any of our local offices. We have the Dropbox that's just located outside of the door. And again, the verification email account is verification@nib-bahamas.com. We also want everyone in receipt of the retirement benefit. If you have the registrant self-service portal, you can also just go online at the registrant self-service portal and you can verify that way.
So of all the persons needing verification, where are we now? in terms of percentage of those who have been verified?
Yes, and so we have just over 40,000 pensioners in the Bahamas. And so right now we're looking at a little bit over 10% of that. And so while it's not the majority of our pensioners, as we would have been stressing, we don't want to suspend anyone's pension. And so it's very important that persons go out and do it. It is part of NIB's regulation. And so it's law. And so it is something that should be done. If you're questioning whether you're a long-term pension recipient, long-term pensions include retirement benefit, the old age non-contributory pension, industrial death benefit, survivor's benefit and assistance, disablement, and the invalidity benefit.
All right. So somebody's asking here about whether the form is available online.
Yes, it is. Online, if you're in receipt of a benefit, it's the B75A. They can go to NIB's website at nib-bahamas.com. And if they're in receipt of an assistance, it's the B75B.
I think you mixed that up, yes.
Assistance and B for benefit. B75A if you're in receipt of an assistance, and B75B if you're in receipt of a benefit. They go to our website and right under the portion that says forms, they'll see various forms, but they go to the B75A or B, depending on what they're in receipt of.
Can you fill it out online, or do you have to print it and then fill it out and then reload it?
Unfortunately, you have to print it, fill it out, and then reload it. But we are in the process of rectifying that problem so that all of our forms will be able to be completed online. Our IT department is working on that process as we speak.
But what we're also encouraging persons to do, if you go to one of these locations that might even be closer to your home than an NIB office, when you go, just take a couple of forms. You know that you have to do this every year. You have to do it twice within 12 months. Take a couple of the forms. We refill those locations every single month, and you can have a stack of forms at your home with you.
Yep, that is what I did for my mom, definitely. Took a few of those. Okay. Great stuff there. All right, so we want people, if you have any questions, to call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, or text us, 422-4796. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, more with NIB. We've got smart card procedures as well to tell us about. And we're talking with Diane Major and Tonique Williams. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. We'll get to some of these messages that are coming in just a bit. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL. Growing wealth for future generations.
Wait, you know what's going down tomorrow?
Nobody, what happening?
Joe bringing these knives to school. He could do Junior in.
For what?
But he fooled with Joe.
Mother sick. And you know Junior don't back down for nothing. So that means you got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you on?
Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Penn. We gotta tell somebody about this fight.
Tell somebody? I ain't no snitch. I mean cool, you know.
Wait, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, him and these boys coming for me next.
All right, so we definitely gotta tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight.
What I say, I don't want nobody call me snitch.
We could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So what are the boy?
All you gotta do is call them or you text them through the Crack Crime Bahamas app and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info? And when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the call go directly to Miami and they don't ask nothing about you. Then you can get the pen from them and they can claim a reward later using that same pen.
Plus, everything's scrambled so nobody can read what you saying.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Report brought to you by CFAO. In the face of ballooning government debt and an uncertain economic recovery in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, the government and private sector must band together to create an ambitious and visionary long-term strategy to build back the country's finances. That's according to Colina Financial Advisors in its local economic review for the second quarter of 2021. The report explained that with a direct debt to gross domestic product at 92.3% as of March 31st compared to 61.8% year on year, and the national debt to GDP inclusive of contingent liabilities at 96.4%, there's a need to aggressively devise an economic strategy to reboot the Bahamian economy. The CFAO review contending that meaningful public infrastructure expenditure and a turbocharging of the domestic and foreign investment component of the economy are needed to aid in the recovery of the economy. The statement saying that the reality is that the lack of productive investments has had and will continue to have major economic consequences on the country's economic growth, and that consumption is down significantly due to stalled economic activity and relatively high unemployment levels, maxed out government expenditures, and significantly reduced net exports. Thus, productive investments in healthcare, education, transportation, telecommunications, energy, housing, and roads are key to leading the Bahamas out of the economic slump. You can read more about this in today's Guardian Business section. Days after the Prime Minister signed an emergency order requiring all cruise passengers entering the country over the age of 12 to be vaccinated, the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issuing a new guidance warning even fully vaccinated older people to avoid cruises altogether. In an updated guidance note released last week, the CDC cautioned fully vaccinated people to choose safer activities if they are at increased risk for severe illness, particularly as the new Delta variant spreads furiously in the U.S. and around the world. Older adults, people with medical conditions, and pregnant or recently pregnant people were listed as significant groups of people who should take precaution. And IRCA, the Utilities Regulation and Competition Authority, searching for a company to carry out consumer surveys on pay television and radio broadcasting markets in the Bahamas to determine the watching and listening habits of consumers across the country. IRCA saying this request for proposals was released on its website on Friday. CEO Carlton Smith said in a statement that the information will allow IRCA to determine how consumers feel about the services provided by television and radio operators. It says these critical market surveys will help IRCA to obtain empirical data on the listening and watching habits of consumers across the nation. According to the statement, the survey will be completed by the end of November for a market that has little to none of this kind of data available to the service providers or the public. You can read more about this in today's Guardian business section as well. Many train drivers with Germany's national railway walking off the job today as their union embarked on its second two-day strike this month in a bitter dispute with the company. The GDL union called on passenger train drivers to strike from 2 a.m. Monday to 2 a.m. Wednesday. Freight train drivers already started their strike on Saturday afternoon. Railway operator Deutsche Bahn planned to run about 1/4 of long-distance trains, while about 40% of regional and local services were expected to go ahead. The union's demands include a 3.2% salary increase and a one-time coronavirus bonus of €600 or $700. GDL is at odds with government-owned Deutsche Bahn, among other things, about when increases should take place and over what period a wage agreement should cover. Global shares rising so far today as investor sentiment received a big boost from the rally last week on Wall Street, despite worries about the more contagious coronavirus Delta variant, not only in the region but across the world. Asian shares bounced higher by the strongest level for 3 weeks as bargain hunters take advantage of a recent sell-off. And the recent decline in Japanese shares provided an opportunity for bargain hunters. Toyota Motor Corporation's shares rose 3.4% in Tokyo trading. Other shares gained, including Nissan, Sony, and Nintendo. Weighing on investor sentiments are COVID-19 infections, which have been rising in parts of Japan, including Tokyo, with some sick people being turned away at hospitals. The government has set up oxygen stations, which have beds and oxygen treatments for people waiting to be hospitalized. But critics say the government needs to do more to reorganize the hospital's overall hospital system in Japan, assigning certain facilities for COVID-19 treatment, a move that Japan has yet to take on a significant scale. Closer to home in your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Friday in market movers. RF Bank and Trust Company Bahamas Limited moving 1,000 shares, closing up 2 cents to $14.25. Consolidated Water down 1 cent, closing at $2.35. Emir Incorporated up 8 cents to $11.48. The BISX All Share Index closing at 2,084.65, up 0.26. Recapping the week, the local market ended the week with 683,280 shares crossing the exchange with 54 trades to accumulate a value of $2,303,555. The BISX All Share Index gained 103.28 points, or 5.21%. Year to date, the index is down 7.76 points, or 0.37%. The week's volume and value leader was Commonwealth Bank, moving 355,000 shares in 17 trades with a value of $1,021,488. That's your Market Watch. And that is your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And tune in tonight for CFAL Talks right here on Guardian Radio 96.9 at 6:30 p.m. On this Monday morning, Dwight Strachan, along with Pamela Musgrove, we are talking with NIB. We've got Tonique Williams and Diane Major. We've been talking about the pension verification process, which is going on now, that deadline August 31st. And we've got some information about smart cards as well, the smart cards procedures. What can you tell us about that, ladies? What's happening there?
Well, in regard to our smart cards, at the start of the pandemic, NIB had advised that it was not necessary to renew your smart card. This still continues to be the case, and we have sent reminder letters to government agencies, private agencies, anyone that you attempt to do business with using your card. We have asked them to honor the expired cards until further notice. And this is specifically due to the pandemic. They can call in to our registration department or email in to verify that that card you're presenting is your card and does contain a verified number. And, that's just to slow down the process or the amount of persons coming into our offices and presenting themselves to renew their cards. For those persons for new registrants, they can continue to submit applications through the Dropbox or by email to our registration department, and we would issue them a letter verifying that card, that their number is legitimate for now. Because we have suspended face-to-face, we are unable to capture their photograph and their signature at this time. But we can process their application, issue them the letter, and as soon as things go back to normal, we will have them come in for us to capture their photo and signature and issue their card.
All right. Are people getting that message? Are people getting that message? We've been hearing some people say they've gone to maybe banks or some other institutions and have presented the card that is expired and people giving them a hard time. What happens if you do experience that?
If you do experience that, you can call into our registration department and they can issue you a letter that you can present to that institution. But we have recently sent out reminder letters to places like the Passport Office, Road Traffic, UB, BTVI, Water and Sewage, BTC, the banks, the insurance companies. We have sent reminder letters from our assistant director advising them to please accept the expired cards at this time.
So if you're going on a new job, you might need to get one of those as well. Get a letter.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you working on technology that do not require you to have to use face-to-face in order to even renew the smart card? I did my visa. My U.S. visa. I had to get it. Well, not renewed, but I worked on that about a month or two ago. I never went in for an interview. I submitted everything online through the portal that they gave. And then I went into FedEx to have it shipped. And then when they shipped it back, I went to collect it. I never met with anybody because I already had a visa already. So we have a card. Are we working on that technology that we don't have to go into NIB even after this pandemic? And were we working on that technology now so that in the midst of the pandemic, people can still get their cards and not have to go into NIB to get a new card?
Well, yes, as things continue to pan out, we are working on ways to improve that process. Throughout the pandemic, you were able to submit applications by our Dropbox or email them in to registration at nib-bahamas.com. And for the renewal process, you didn't have to come in person until you presented yourself at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium to collect your renewed card. But like I said, we are making changes as we go along. We know this pandemic has hit us all, caused a lot of things to be done differently and caused us to look at ways to improve our processes. And we are in the midst of doing that. So going forward, you may not have to come into NIB for any reason. That's where we're headed.
And I know people have wondered this for a while about, and we've heard the explanation before, but maybe you can remind folks about it, why the NIB card expires in the first place. And when you do get a new card, will that still have an expiration date? What can you tell us about that?
Well, when we first introduced the smart card in 2015, the vendors advised us that the lifespan of the cards was 5 to 7 years. So that's the reason we put an expiration date on your card for 5 years, because they told us within 5 years the cards would start to fade or not look the same. But since we saw that the cards are lasting longer than 5 years, we even had an initiative in 2018, 2019, where we placed a decal on that expired card, extending the life of that card for another year, an additional year. So going forward, we are looking at ways to, we're discussing maybe not having the cards expired. Right now, the only cards that don't expire is when you turn 60 and you get your seniors card. You no longer, that doesn't expire. That's for life. But we are exploring new ways and new cards. We're looking at some stuff. So stay tuned to NIB. We have some exciting things to come.
Mine expires later this year. Will it be ready by that time?
Can't promise you.
Okay. No problem. No problem.
This may be, Go ahead, sorry. This may be slightly off, but can I go online to NIB and look at a statement showing my contributions and the contributions of my company?
Definitely. You can. I'm going to give you my email address. It's dmajor@ni-bahamas.com. And that's not only for Pamela, that's for anyone out there who wishes to see their contribution information or wishes to, see what we have in the system for you. Send me an email. I can give you a PIN, which would allow you to register on our portal and view all of the information that NIB has in our system for you.
Yeah, great. I think there's an email online that I sent the notice to in order to get the PIN, but I never got a response back. So it's dmajor@nib-bahamas.
nib-bahamas.com.
Okay.
dmajor@nib-bahamas.com.
Great.
Tonique, you were about to say something?
Yes, I think you mentioned that your card would expire later on this year, and if we would be ready. We just want to remind everyone out there that these procedures are now in place because we're looking at the surges in COVID-19. We're looking at ways to continue to limit face-to-face services. We want to protect our staff. We want to protect our customers. We want to avoid having long lines of persons waiting for services. And so we're encouraging persons as much as possible to continue to use your cards. The cards are still valid. We have a system in place where any entity, private or public, can call NIB or email NIB, and we can verify whether that card is valid or not. These are measures to protect us all as we maneuver through the pandemic.
Okay, great stuff there. See if this is a message here. No. Okay, let's take our final break, and then we'll be back to just recap all that that you've said this morning, and then we'll see if we get some more messages coming in. I can read these, and we'll just recap what's happening here. This is Morning Blend Business on this Monday morning. We're going to be back after these messages. Stay with us.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Be prepared for the rainy season with an RBC loan to fund your rainy season essentials. For hurricane shutters, generators, solar power systems, or general home repair, RBC offers a range of flexible and competitive financing solutions. Let us help you get started at rbc.com/Caribbean/get-a-loan. Special conditions apply. Reimagine your rainy season readiness with RBC financing.
For this morning, here's what's happening. We've got a robust high pressure ridge combined with a dense plume of Saharan dust that's going to continue to generate moderate to fresh breezes and drier, more stable weather conditions across the country through tonight. For all areas today, a forecast calls for partly sunny to sunny, hot, hazy, and breezy conditions with a few isolated showers, turning fair to partly cloudy and warm tonight. Smoke-craft advisories in effect for the central and southeast Bahamas. And all residents are being advised to remain hydrated and limit outdoor activities because heat indices will again be in the triple digits. Look for high temperatures around 92 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, with that heat index at 104 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. In your extended outlook, the current weather conditions will continue for at least another day tomorrow, while a strong tropical wave will usher in a round of showers and thunderstorms as it moves closer to the islands by the middle of the week. So for tomorrow, Tuesday, we are expecting partly sunny, hot, hazy, and breezy conditions again with isolated showers, mainly in the southeast Bahamas. Then Wednesday, variably cloudy, hot, and breezy with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. In the tropics, tropical depression now, Henri, still impacting portions of southern New England and the northern mid-Atlantic states. Elsewhere, we're watching a broad area of low pressure located at several hundred miles west-southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. It has a low or 10% chance of tropical cyclone formation through the next 5 days. That's your morning blend weather check. Morning Red Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, along with Pamela Musgrove. We are talking with Diane Major and Tony with the National Insurance Board, getting some information about their pension verification process and smart cards. Getting a lot of text messages, but they're all about school and people being stressed out about virtual learning. I don't think Diane and Tony can help us with that unless you have some. Does NIB, can NIB help with that stuff? People are losing their minds. Oh my goodness! Wow. Anyway, hey, we're all in this together. So hopefully, just know that you have our support, parents. So we're praying for you. Okay, so let's get some reminders before we wrap up about the verification process. What people need to know.
Okay, I would just like to add to what I said about the emails because they're already coming through.
Oh, wow.
Please include your national insurance number when you send the email for your PIN. Because, you know, in the Bahamas, we have a lot of persons name alike. So please include your national insurance number so that I send the PIN to the correct John Doe.
Okay.
Thank you.
They're already coming in, eh? Wow.
Yes.
All right. Tell us more about the verification process and what people need to remember. And again, this is very important. You have until this has already been extended, and this is August 31st. You've got to do this now.
Yeah, I think one of the key things, and what Diane probably alluded to just now, is that we have to get those forms completed in their entirety. We oftentimes get information and incomplete information on those forms, and we're unable to process it. So you want to make sure that you're also sending these forms in before next week, Tuesday, but you also want to make sure that they're completely filled in. And you also, like I indicated earlier, want to make sure that the information pertinent to your benefit is filled in. We want to know, are you still eligible for that benefit? All of our information concerning verification is on our website. If you go to nib-bahamas.com, you go to our assistance and benefits page. On that page, you would find all of the information that you need about verification. How do you do it? who are the sanctions authority, where you can mail those forms in, how to use the RSS for retirement benefit, if you're living abroad, how that is done. Everything that you need to know about verification, it is on that site. Again, the verification email, if you have any questions, is verification@nib-bahamas.com.
And I just want to add to what Tony said, to reiterate, if you have verified in the last 6 months, this deadline is not for you. This deadline of August 31st is specifically for those pensioners who have not verified in the last 6 months. So we don't want to scare persons who they may say, oh, I was in there in June and I verified. Why do I have to verify again? No, this message is not for you. You're fine. We ask that you now go to your regular birthday month and 6 months thereafter for your verification dates.
Right. Somebody's asking if you can take a picture of your NIB card, and for if they're trying to approve to deal with anything, pension verification, smart card, that's acceptable, right? You do accept a photo.
Yes, we accept the photo, but is this picture for them we're trying to renew their card, or this is for verification?
Verification, I suspect.
Okay, they can take a picture, but the picture alone would not suffice.
Right.
We need the completed verification form.
Yeah. All right. So this question here: how old do you have to be to get the pension?
To get retirement benefit, you can take early benefit from age 60 to 64, or you can choose to wait until 65. But you have to have a minimum of 500 contributions to qualify for retirement benefit, which is about 10 years contributions.
Yeah. Right. Okay, the person clarified. They're for the smart card renewal process. So the photos are...
No, the photo of the card alone would not suffice.
Yeah.
We would need you to complete an R4 form. That form is also available on our website. And we need you to send us in a color copy of your current passport or voter's card.
Right. All right. How's that been going? Did you notice any challenges during the pandemic? Well, we're still in it, but over the past year, in terms of contributions, we know a lot of people weren't working. How has that impacted what you do at NIB?
It has impacted our processes quite a bit. You know, the public was so used to coming in and being able to deal with persons one-on-one. But for quite a while, we have suspended face-to-face. We have opened a card distribution center at the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium just to slow down the crowd of persons at our headquarters building. So those who are picking up letters or picking up cards have to go now to the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. We've also moved our check distribution, short-term benefit check distribution center to the Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. And that's because there's more space there for persons to social distance. You know, we don't want persons on these lines on top of each other. So we have had to make a lot of changes just to ensure that we still offer the best service that we can during this pandemic.
Quite a few other text messages coming in, not exactly, but about what you're talking about this morning, but let's see if you can answer these. If pensioners who are still working were laid off, are they entitled to unemployment benefit?
Unemployment benefit, you cease being eligible for unemployment benefit at age 65. But if you are a pensioner in receipt of retirement benefit, then you no longer qualify for unemployment, sickness, maternity benefit. Your employer should only be paying 2% contributions for you, which only covers you in the event you get injured on that job. So a pensioner who's in receipt of retirement and gets laid off, no, unfortunately, you do not qualify for unemployment benefit.
Oh my. You already answered this one. They say that their next verification date is September. That deadline does not apply to them, right? You said if you've already verified in the last 6 months, then you should be fine.
Right. So if their next date is September, then they should come in during the month of September to be verified.
Okay. And this one I don't understand. Anyway, this one, if a person's birthday is September and they verified in January and then again in July, should the person verify in September in their birth month or just wait the 6 months for the next verification?
They should verify in September just so we get them back on their correct schedule. September and March is their 2 months for verification.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I think what would have happened, Dwight, is that when persons did not verify during the 2020 year, when we called for verification again in January, they may have verified in January when that was probably not their birth month and then the 6 months afterwards. And so for everyone listening out there, if you did heed the call and verify outside of your usual verification months, you would actually need to verify again when your birthday comes or the 6 month date thereafter. And so even if that's not 6 months apart, please go ahead and still verify. So if your birthday was in January and you did not verify until March, you still want to go ahead and verify again in July so that now you're back on your schedule.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point there. Someone says here, if you fall short of the 500 contributions, is there any way to make up the difference? For example, if your employer neglected to pay, but you want to pay on your own to make up the difference, is that possible?
We do have some. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tony.
So first of all, if you were working, you're entitled to your contributions. And so if you notice that you were employed, you should get in contact with NIB and let us know that you were working and your contributions were not paid, okay? Because you earned those contributions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we also have something that we call retirement grant for those persons who just would have fall short of the 500 contributions to qualify them for a retirement benefit. The retirement grant, if you have anywhere between 150 to 499 contributions, the only difference is you have to wait until age 65. You can claim a retirement grant where we pay you one payment, one lump sum payment that incorporates based on the amount of contributions you would have made.
Okay. We're running out of time, but this question, I'm not sure I understand the question. Maybe you all understand it. This person is asking, if you want to change your beneficiary, how do you go about it?
National insurance don't have beneficiaries.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering there. Okay. All right. Maybe. All right. So they're asking again, Diane, for your email address.
It's dmajor@nib-bahamas.com. And let me encourage the public out there, if any concerns you have pertaining to NIB, feel free to email me. If I can't respond to your request, I know who to refer you to. Yeah. So please feel free to email me. We try to offer excellent customer service to all of our contributors, and that's our aim. That's what we're here for. So feel free.
Wonderful stuff. Diane Major and Tony Williams, wonderful discussion this morning. Thank you so much. Answered a lot of people's questions. Really appreciate you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Pam, it has breaking news. The Food and Drug Administration has formally approved Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. The widely anticipated decision replaces the emergency use authorization granted by the agency last December. It's now the first COVID-19 vaccine to be subject to a full review by the U.S. regulator and to get an approval that puts the vaccine on par with other marketed vaccines. The full approval could make it easier for employers, the military, and universities to mandate vaccination and may reassure some people about the vaccine. That's coming from NPR, and it's widely reported. It's breaking all over. And you'll be hearing a lot more about that today. Finally, the first one of these to get full approval, not just for emergency use now. So there we go.
We have a we have a good number of Pfizer in country.
Yes.
So that's a good thing.
Yep. Check me on Friday morning after I get my first, my second dose, but my first of Pfizer. As I mix my vaccines, we'll see how that goes.
I say go for it.
Yeah, going for gold. But anyway, I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and more Morning Blend business here on Guardian Radio. Pat, have a great day. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you. Have a blessed week, Bahamas.
On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
Wake up, it's a new day.